A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
Hey, Rags, come back here. Yes, I'm talking to you. Now, you stay right here like Bumps told you to. Elfo's on now. Don't you want to see him? Well, sit still then and watch. Boy, look at that. He sure is strong. Now what?
Hey, kid.
Oh.
You seen a guy named Belko around?
Stop it, Rags. Yes, sir. He's on doing his act.
He's a what?
He's working. That's him out there pulling that wagon by his teeth.
Huh? Oh. Is he a dog?
Yeah.
He don't seem to like me the way he's growling.
I guess he don't know you, that's all. You a friend of Belko's?
Yeah. And I want to see him. How soon does he get through with the stunt he's doing now?
Right now.
Oh, that's a pretty good trick, huh?
Uh-huh.
Does he come out this way?
Yeah. Here he comes.
Hey, what are you all rigged up in that swell-looking suit for?
Oh, I go on in a minute with my act.
A kid like you?
Sure.
They sure started me young in the circus.
Hello, Jerry.
Hiya, Belko. Here's somebody looking for you.
Well, hello.
Pipe it down. Come over here with me.
What's the matter?
Why didn't you meet me last night?
I had something else to do.
You did you?
You act like something was wrong.
You know I don't like the idea of having to come here on the circus lot to see you.
Why not?
Oh, never mind. You wouldn't understand anyway. I'll try to get this straight.
Yeah?
I don't want you to work for me for a while. Not until I tell you to start again. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
But why?
Never mind the why.
I can use the extra money.
Well, I don't need you for a while.
Okay. But what's the matter? Ain't I doing my work all right?
I'll tell you some other time.
Well, when do I start working again?
I don't know yet. I'll have to wait and see. You doing what I told you?
What you mean?
You looking around for somebody to...
Yeah. I know somebody.
That's good. Well, I'll be seeing you later. And listen, watch your step.
All right.
I don't know. Boy, you sure missed it.
What?
Patsy. Was she good? I don't know when I've seen her do her act so well.
Hey, look, Jerry. The countdown is on. Don't you go on soon with the elephant?
Wow, I'll say I do. I nearly forgot. I'll be seeing you later.
So long, Jerry.
Come on, Rags. I'll take you back.
Look at that boy run. Say, he must be late.
He sure is, Patsy. I mean, Miss Patsy.
Oh, that's all right, Belko. You can call me Patsy.
Can I? that sure is fine then, Patsy.
You feel funny calling me by my first name?
I feel proud being able to do it because I...
What's the matter with you?
I feel fine, but as I was going to say...
Well, go ahead and say it, Belko. Well, for such a big, strong man, you're having a mighty hard time to get a few little words out.
Well, Patsy, I think you're mighty fine.
Oh, I see. You like me.
No.
What?
I mean, yeah. Of course I like you. Oh, it seems I just can't say what I had in mind to say.
Well, what were you going to say, Belko? Come on now. Tell me.
Stop it. Stop looking at me that way.
What's the matter, Belko?
Those eyes. Those big brown eyes.
Oh, is something the matter with my eyes?
Yeah. Oh, no. I don't mean there is. I mean, I don't know what I mean. But your eyes, when you look at me like you do, well, I just get weak.
Oh, a big, strong man like you gets weak.
Patsy, if you're teasing me, I wish you would stop.
Oh, I am sorry, Belko. Now I'll tell you something.
Yeah?
I like you, too.
You mean that?
Surely I mean it.
Then that's better. Now I can say what I started out to say.
Good.
Well, what I wanted to say was, I was going to ask you if you'd go out with me tonight after the show.
Go out? Where?
I mean, go get something to eat. Someplace there we can be alone and talk.
Well, I'd love to go with you, Belko.
Good. Then I'll meet you right after the show, and we'll go uptown to some nice little cafe.
That's fine. Oh, look at Jerry take his bows. Oh, Belko, he's getting better every show.
Happy. You're making me very happy.
What?
Oh, nothing.
You said something, Belko.
I said, here comes Jerry now.
Well, where will you meet me after the show tonight?
Out by the main entrance. As soon as you change your clothes.
I'll be there, Belko.
Hi, Patsy.
Hello, Jerry.
How did you like my act this show?
You were all right, Jerry.
All right. Say you were wonderful.
Jerry, do you know where kangaroos come from?
Why, sure, from Australia.
Well, why don't you learn to talk Australian so you can do an act with the kangaroos?
Oh, now, don't let him kid you, Jerry.
Oh, he can't. I know that Australians talk English just like we do.
Well, I don't see why you laugh, Belko. Jerry didn't fall for your joke.
Yeah, the joke's on you, Belko. You'll have to think up a better one than that.
You don't find Jerry sleeping, I tell you. He's much too smart. Well, I have to go now and get ready.
Can I walk over with you, Patsy?
Yes, you can come.
All right. I'll just take this big belt off. It's kind of uncomfortable.
Well, why do you wear that big white belt?
Oh, it just looks good with the costume.
Oh. Well, come on, I'll have to hurry. Goodbye, Jerry.
Go on, Patsy.
See you after a while, Jackie.
Goodbye.
Jerry? Jerry, who is it? Where are you?
Come here, Jerry. Behind these boxes.
Oh, it's you, Major Mike.
Not so loud.
What's the matter?
Shh, Jerry. I don't want Belko and Patsy to know I was hiding back there.
Oh, they're way over near the back door already.
Listen, Jerry, I was right here behind these boxes all the while they were talking, and you know what?
No, what?
Belko asked to take Patsy out tonight.
Yeah?
And she accepted his invitation.
Well, Patsy's got a right to go out with who she wants to.
Yes, but after all, I'm a friend of hers.
Oh, I'm a friend of hers, too.
Then we shouldn't let her go out with Belko.
Well, if she likes Belko, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, is that so?
Oh, Belko seems all right.
That's just it. He isn't all right. He isn't a fit and proper person for Patsy to be going out with.
What makes you say that?
Well, I have my reasons.
Well, what makes you say Belko isn't all right?
You really want to know?
Well, sure I do.
Then I'll tell you. And what I tell you is true. You believe in Rosa Razzi, the fortune teller, don't you?
Oh, I guess so.
Yes, you guess so. Didn't she tell you a lot of things that come true?
Yeah.
And didn't she tell Johnny Bradley that time he was going to leave the circus and go away in an airplane?
Yeah.
And what more proof do you want? I tell you, Jerry, Rosa is wonderful. Everything she says will come true.
Well, what is it?
Well, I went to Rosa this morning to have a reading. And she told me that a young girl, a friend of mine, was in danger.
Oh, who could that be?
Who could that be? Why, Patsy, of course.
Why?
Well, Rosa said that she was getting in with the wrong kind of company.
You mean Patsy?
Certainly. She said there was a big man that would mean a lot of trouble for this young lady. A big man.
So you figure she meant Belko.
Exactly.
But there are a lot of other big men in the circus.
Oh, Jerry, you're not trying to see this my way.
I am too, but you have to look at it every way.
Oh, there's no two ways about it. When Rosa specifies a big man, she means a bigger man than an ordinary big man. It's Belko she has reference to, I tell you.
All right. What else did she say?
She said if I would keep my eyes and ears open, I would learn something and be able to warn my friends.
So that's why you were listening to Belko and Patsy when they were talking.
That's exactly it.
Oh, what did he find out besides that he wants to take her out?
Well, he said that he wanted to take her to some restaurant where they could be alone and talk. And she's such a pretty little thing. I hate to have anything happen to her, and you can bet nothing will if I can help it.
You better be careful, though. Belko is pretty big.
Jerry, I'm going to tell you something that'll do you good to remember.
Yeah?
It's not size that counts, it's brains. It's far better to be a mental giant than a big hulk like Belko that can lift 500 pounds with one hand.
A mental giant?
Yes, like
you, Major?
Well...
Oh, there. What's the secret meeting all about?
Oh, hello, Mr. Randall. It's no secret meeting.
No, of course not. Jerry and I were just talking.
And did you have to go behind these boxes to talk?
No, but we thought we'd be out of the way here.
Oh, I see.
Were you looking for me, Mr. Randall?
No, but now that I'm here, I might tell you that you didn't keep your promise, Jerry.
What promise?
And you told me you'd go right over to the wagon and change out of your costume the minute you finished your act with El Mundo. You shouldn't be standing around in it this way. That costume of yours costs quite a lot of money.
I know it, Mr. Randall, but just as I was going to go change, I saw Major, and he had something to tell me.
It's my fault, Mr. Randall.
No harm done, but don't make a habit of it, Jerry.
Oh, I won't.
Oh, they finished?
Who? Oh, the Russo. Yeah, that's a nice act.
You bet it is.
Say, Major.
Yes, Jerry?
Did Bumps tell you about the new stunt he's going to do with Rags?
Oh, what's that, Jerry?
Oh, Bumps is going to work out something swell with Rags. It's going to be a fake bullfight, isn't it, Mr. Randall?
Something like that.
A bullfight with a dog? Oh, that's a good one.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, nothing, I guess. Only I don't see what he means. How can he work Rags in a stunt like that?
He's got it all worked out. He just has to rehearse it with Rags now.
Yeah, leave it to Bumps to figure out something. He's always thinking something new to do.
And it's a star turn that's been in his family for generations. It isn't a new act. Well, I've got to run along.
Goodbye, Mr.
So
Randall.
long.
Goodbye.
Now, to get on with what I was saying.
Yeah, go ahead, Major.
Well, if what Rosa tells me is true, and I believe it is, I'm going to do my share to protect Patsy.
Well, what do you mean, Major?
Well, I've got a feeling that Belko is going to bring a lot of trouble Patsy's way, just like Rosa says. So I'm going to try and stop it before it happens.
How?
By trailing Belko and watching him. I'm going to try and find out something about him, and I believe I will.
And then?
Well, if I do, I'll warn Patsy and save her from any harm.
Aren't you afraid?
Me afraid? I should say not. I'm going to do some real detective work, Jerry. Everybody in this circus will be looking up to Major Mike before I get through.
hot, boiling hot that night. I wanted to grab a beer and turn in early. So what happens? I get my beer, but with it comes a gunshot, a beautiful woman in trouble, and murder.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime mysteries, CBS presents his most famous character, brought to you now in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, Red Wind.
There was a rough desert wind blowing into Los Angeles that evening. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight, and meek little housewives feel the edge of a carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert. I closed up my office early. I got tired of reading Philip Marlowe, private investigator, backwards on the ground glass of my office door. So I locked up and decided a nice cold beer would taste good before I went up to my apartment.
Fill her up again, Mr. Marlin?
Marlowe.
Marlin.
Yeah, Marlin's a fish.
Yeah, I know.
Marlin's also the name of a lady on the radio. Marlin, Mary, the story of.
Yeah, my wife listens to it.
Yeah, good for her.
Hey. Hey, you bartender. Another ride.
Yeah, that drunk again.
What do you expect in this business? Autograph hounds?
Make it snappy. You hear?
Be right with you, sport. Gotta draw this man a beer. Crying out loud, these stumblebums.
Hey, Bud.
You got another customer, Bacchus?
Hey, Bud, you seen a lady in here lately?
A lady?
Tall, good-looking, brown hair, a print bolero jacket, and a blue silk dress.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nobody like that, Spinian.
All right, straight scotch fast.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As the man drank, I noticed the drunk was grinning at him. And then, without changing his grin, the drunk swept a gun from somewhere so fast it was just a blur coming out. Made a couple of hard snaps and a little smoke. Very
You other guys, don't move. So long, Waldo. Don't move, you two. Poor Waldo. I bet I made his nose bleed. So long, boys. Drink up.
Get on the phone, kid. I'll get his license number.
Holy smoke.
Too late. He drove away in the dead guy's car.
Maybe he ain't dead.
No, he's dead, all right.
Oh.
That guy was using a .22 target pistol.
Yeah.
When they use that kind of gun, they don't make mistakes. Where's your phone? This is for the police. Prowl car boys were there in 5 minutes. Waldo was out of business, all right. Nothing in his pockets told who he was, but he had about $700 on him. And with that kind of heavy coin, you can buy a good 1910 automobile even today. Well, I told the cops what I knew, including about Waldo's brown-haired, pretty girl in the bolero jacket. It was about 9 o'clock when I stepped out of the elevator in my apartment house and almost walked right into a brown-haired, pretty girl in a bolero jacket, waiting for the elevator on my floor.
Oh, excuse me.
Just a minute, lady.
What is it?
I'm a great admirer of bolero jackets.
What?
Now, take the one you've got on, for instance.
I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry.
No, wait.
If you'll be good enough to let me... Oh, you've made me miss the elevator.
It's just as well.
What?
Well, it's better you don't go out in those clothes.
What do you mean?
Tall, good-looking, bolero jacket, blue silk dress. Mm-hmm. Lady, might I take the trouble of telling you that you're in trouble?
Trouble?
Yeah, the cops are looking for you. In those clothes.
I haven't done anything.
Maybe not. But if I were you, I'd have a little talk with me.
I've all the
I'm in
nerve...
room 41 across the hall. I know things about you.
Well...
Good girl. Come along. It took a firm grip on her arm, but I managed to get her to my room. I rustled up some drinks, but when I turned to give her hers, I saw she held a small automatic. She looked at me steadily. I put down both glasses slowly so I wouldn't be misunderstood. Look, sister, I know it's hot tonight and heat does funny things to people, but let's put that little thing away and have a nice cool drink, huh?
Don't move.
Oh, I'm strictly frozen in my tracks.
Stay that way.
Okay. But wouldn't you like to know that I'm a private detective?
Private detective?
Yeah, I can prove it if you'll let me. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I don't like those things pointed at me.
I'll have that drink.
Oh, good. I don't often give good liquor away like this. I can't afford it.
Why are they after me?
Well, a man was just shot in a bar down the street. Before he got it, he'd been asking about a tall, pretty girl with a bolero jacket.
What did he look like, this man?
Oh, he was tall, about 5'11". Slim, dark brown eyes with a lot of glitter. Dark suit, white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And he must have seen you early at night to know how you were dressed. Am I getting anywhere?
He used to be my chauffeur.
You had an appointment with him, didn't you? He asked for you, didn't he?
Yes, I had an appointment with him. He'd stolen something from me when he left 3 days ago. I was going to buy it back from him.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't tell him.
It was valuable, wasn't it? Valuable enough for Waldo to steal.
$15,000.
Peanuts.
But it wasn't the value. You see, it meant something to me. The man I loved gave it to me. And now he's dead. He shot down over Germany. Now go back and tell my husband that. He probably hired you.
He did? How much is he paying me? And where is this husband of yours?
He's at a meeting.
This late at night?
He's a very important man. He's a hydroelectric engineer.
Never mind about him. What about Waldo? Why was he knocked off?
You mean he's dead? Waldo is dead?
Yes, sister, he's dead, very dead. Screaming won't bring him back.
I'm not going to scream. Who would that be?
There's a dressing room behind the door. Hide there. Take your glass with you.
All right.
I went to the door, making a loud, yawning sound. Foolishly, I didn't have my gun. That was a mistake. Because when I opened the door, the guy on the other side certainly had one. A .22 target automatic that had already killed one man that night. And I knew the bald head, the flat, shiny eyes, and the face like a poisonous lizard. Baldy put the muzzle of his gun lightly against my throat. I backed into the room, and Baldy kicked the door shut.
You alone?
Look for yourself.
I'm asking, not looking.
I'm alone.
You and that dumb bartender saw me dust off Waldo.
What did Waldo do to you?
Who's asking?
Just making conversation.
He stooled on me on a bank job we did together. Got me 4 years in Michigan Penn. How is he?
Dead.
Well, I'm still good. Drunk or sober. Tell me why I came here, pal.
You heard the barkeep and me talking. I told him my name and where I lived.
That's how, pal. I said why.
Skip it. The hangman won't ask you to guess why he's there.
You're pretty tough at that, ain't you, pal? But you're slamming off.
All right. But, could you get that gun out of my neck and try somewhere else? Just any place.
This better? This suits you all right?
It's just so it isn't my neck.
Say when, pal. It's your party.
I leaned against the gun weakly. The door of the dressing room showed a crack of darkness. The crack widened. I began to shake a little in spite of the heat. The girl came quietly into the room, but there was white all around her irises. She was scared. She had a gun in her hand, but I was sorry for her. Dead sorry. She tried to make the door a scream. Either way, it would be curtains for both of us.
Scared, mister? Worried about any little thing?
I couldn't talk. The girl floated in the air somewhere behind Baldy. And her horrified face was drifting toward us. My mouth was as cold and dry as yesterday's toast.
Well, kid, how's it feel? You ready yet? Say the word.
Well, don't take all night about it. If you're going to do something about it, do it.
Why not, pal? I like this.
Suppose I yell.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, look! Thanks, sister. That buys me. Everything I have is yours, now and forever.
Is he dead?
And flatter me no end, lady. I only punched him. Now get out of here while I call the cops down on this killer.
Good night.
Wait a minute. That jacket marks you for the cops. Leave it here. You don't need it in this kind of weather.
Oh, yes, here.
Okay. See you again?
Why?
I don't know. Who am I to be the rival of a dead flyer and things like that? Nah, on second thought, forget the whole thing. I'll see that the police get Jesse James here. Good night, lady. Yeah? You mean me?
Yes, please.
Oh, you again.
Get in. I want to talk to you.
You want to know what happened at headquarters?
Yes.
I went down to headquarters with the law and gave them the story. I left you out of it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you saved my life. So no one knows anything about you. Incidentally, neither do I.
My name is Mrs. Frank Barsley. 212 Fremont Place. Olympia 24596. That what you wanted?
I guess so.
Well, there it is.
Now, why'd you really come back?
I wanted my pearls.
Oh, no. Pearls, too?
Yes.
All right, tell me about the pearls. We've had a murder, a beautiful mystery woman, and a sadistic killer, and an heroic rescue. Now we will have pearls.
I was to buy them back from the man called Waldo.
Well, I saw everything that came out of his pockets. There weren't any pearls.
Could they be hidden in his apartment?
It's possible.
Waldo lived on the same floor you do, in this apartment house.
And why didn't I know him, at least by sight?
Well, he just moved in last week. He managed to get a sublet.
Sort of amateur magician on the side, huh?
It's getting rather late.
Yeah. What about your husband this hot, mysterious night?
He's still at his meeting.
Good.
Why did you say that?
I didn't have any answers. We just sat there looking at one another. I was suddenly aware of the hot desert wind stirring up the night. I took hold of her and I kissed her. She sat very still. I was shaking when I let go of her. Her voice trembled a little when she spoke.
I meant you to do that. Oh, I wasn't always this way. Only since Johnny Dalmas was killed in the war. He gave me those pearls. 41 of them. With a diamond propeller clasp. I'd have loved them if they were wooden beads because he gave them to me. I loved Johnny. The way you love just one time. You understand that?
Yes, I can. What I don't understand is how you could explain a $15,000 pearl necklace to your husband.
I told him they were imitation. That I bought them myself.
How did Waldo latch onto them and what they stood for?
When my husband was in Argentina, Waldo and I would go for long drives. I was restless and wretched because of Johnny. Sometimes Waldo and I had a little drink together. But that was all.
But you confided in Waldo about those pearls.
Yes.
And when your husband came back, Waldo stole the pearls and offered to sell them back to you. He'd tell Papa.
Oh, I was a fool.
And now you think the pearls are upstairs in Waldo's apartment.
I suppose it's a lot to ask.
I've been paid. I'll go look. Wait here. Was I gone long,
No.
Lola?
Well?
No.
No pearls?
No pearls.
Oh.
There was a man in Waldo's room.
Man.
You know a guy named Leon Velasanos?
No, not by name. I don't know him.
Mexican, South American, about 45, small, iron gray hair, very neat. Fawn-colored suit, wine-colored tie.
No, I don't think I know such a man. You say he was in the room?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Very little. In fact, nothing. He was dead.
You are listening to the adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by one of America's most outstanding writers of crime and mystery fiction, Raymond Chandler. Our story for today, The Red Wind, continues in just a moment. But first, a message of interest for all young men. How would you like to be up there in the wild blue sky, flying America's mightiest bombers, fastest fighters, and newest jet jobs? Believe me, it's a great feeling to know that you have the skill, the courage it takes to become a pilot officer in the United States Air Force, the Air Force that's second to none. Keep your eye on the local newspapers and your nearest Army Air Force recruiting station. An aviation cadet recruiting team will be in your community soon. If you're between the ages of 20 and 26 and a half years of age, single and a high school graduate, plan to see the aviation cadet interviewing team. If you pass the mental and physical examination, you'll be accepted for the 52-week aviation cadet training program. When you graduate, you'll be a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force, the mightiest of all. And now, back to the adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore as our star, we continue today's adventure.
I sat with Lola Barsley in her car, listening to the hot wind gallop around in the midnight streets. I just told her about the Latin-looking man I'd found in Waldo's room in a very dead condition. I held her hands until they stopped trembling, and then I gave her the few remaining details. He had a gun in his shoulder holster, but someone had strangled him before he could set up in business with a gun.
Someone? You mean Waldo?
Maybe. You see that convertible coupe 2 cars ahead of us?
Oh, it's been there for hours. There before I parked here to wait for you.
Well, Leon, the guy in Waldo's room, came in that car. But according to the key container he carried, it isn't his car.
Well, whose car is it? And does it matter?
Yeah, it belongs to a lady, according to the tag on the car keys. Eugenie Kolchenko, West Los Angeles.
Never heard of her.
Mm-hmm. Well, you better go home now.
What are you going to do?
I'll drive that flossy convertible around and wave at my friends. Impress people. You run along now. Me, I've got another date.
Yes? What is it, please?
Miss Eugenie Kolchenko?
Yes? What is it?
Did you lose or misplace a pigeon gray convertible coupe?
What are you saying?
Now, don't be alarmed. I found it, brought it home to you.
Oh, come in, please. It is a reward you wish. Shall we say...
Snap out of a dragon, lady. Who was he?
Who was who?
The little guy, Leon. You loaned your car to. He's dead. Who was he?
Oh, no. No.
Eugenie.
Darling, come here, please.
What's the matter, my dear? Who is this man?
I came about Miss Kolchenko's car.
What about a car?
Well, the gentleman who borrowed it couldn't return it on account of he isn't alive.
He's dead, darling. He is dead.
That's putting it more bluntly, of course.
Dead, huh?
Yeah, completely.
Who are you?
Philip Marlowe, private investigator. My card.
Have you told the police yet?
Never do at once what can be profitably deferred pending negotiation. ESOP.
I might negotiate.
Peachy.
Just what do you know, Marlowe?
Well, a man named Waldo was shot in a bar tonight. I happen to have the inside as to who he was, and when I visited his apartment tonight, I found this Leon Velasanos dead.
He wouldn't have had $500 in 20s on him, would he?
No. But this Waldo had over $700 on him when he was killed in that cocktail bar, mostly in 20s. Is there a basis for negotiation yet?
Very well, Marlowe. There were certain bills for some stuff Miss Kolchenko here had charged to my account.
But, darling, you told me I might charge to your account.
All right, my dear, so I wasn't bright.
That might be the understatement of the decade, but go on.
I had the bills safely in my briefcase. Somehow this Waldo had a chance to steal the briefcase. I hired Leon, gave him $500 to buy back those bills from Waldo.
Instead, Waldo took Leon's coupons, was forced to kill Leon in the process. Then he went out to keep another date and walked into an old pal hostile enough to blow him down, huh?
And somebody still has those bills, and I'm in for a divorce suit, huh?
The man who shot Waldo got away in Waldo's car with your briefcase in it, could be. Cops caught him.
And the police have the briefcase?
Maybe. But the police are interested in solving crimes, not in tossing mud for the benefit of sensation eaters. I have a friend or two at headquarters. Let me see what I can do.
It's worth $500 to me, Marlowe.
Then that's what it'll cost you.
All right. Good luck, and thank you, Mr...
Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, remember?
Marlowe. My name is Frank Barsley.
Barsley? Oh.
And just what does that mean?
The big hydroelectric engineer.
Yeah. Yes, how'd you know?
Never mind. May I use your telephone? Someday I must tell you about Ibarra. Now he's a salt-of-the-earth Ibarra, detective lieutenant over at Central Homicide. Well, I phoned Ibarra from Miss Kolchenko's house and told him where he could find a well-dressed cadaver named Leon, and furnished a few small details. I gave Ibarra time to check my tip, and then I went down to see the good lieutenant and told him why I'd been up in Waldo's room, only to find Leon instead of a certain lady's string of pearls.
Pearls, eh?
Yeah, I thought Waldo might have had them up there.
Whose pearls were they?
The ladies.
Go on.
Oh, they might have been in Waldo's car that Waldo's killer drove away in.
Yeah?
What, yeah?
They might have.
Yeah. Also, a batch of bills charged to the account of a certain Frank Bosley.
Yeah?
The police aren't interested in domestic scandal. They want to prevent or solve crimes, right?
So?
So, I've got $500 for the police fund. If those pearls and those bills are returned to their rightful owners.
Quit your kidding.
It's a valuable necklace.
Yeah. There's your necklace. Take it away.
On the level, Ibarra?
Just tell me straight what it's all about. All I ask.
Sure. Well, you see, this Waldo was blackmailing a wife with the pearls and her husband with the bills. Bosley, that's the guy's name, sent Leon to get the bills from Waldo. Waldo killed him and then stepped out and got nailed by that guy in the bar he'd stool pigeoned against once. Well, if Bosley's name stays out of the papers, I get $500. It goes to the police fund.
Thanks. We'll keep them out.
I'm not in this case for money. I just want to get back the bills and the pearls.
Sure. And like you say, Marlowe, the police aren't in business to sling mud.
Look, you can deliver the pearls to the lady yourself if you like.
No, you better take them to her, Marlowe. You see, except for that diamond propeller clasp on them, they're phony.
Phony?
But look, Marlowe, I know pearls. Real pearls feel gritty between the teeth. These are hard and glassy. Try.
Yeah.
They're phony. All but the clasp, Marlowe. All but the clasp.
I took the pearls and had them appraised the next morning at a gilt-edged place in Beverly Hills. Phony all but the clasp. An imitation as good as these couldn't have been made that fast. These were the pearls that Waldo had stolen. I took the glass pearls to a dive on Melrose and had them duplicated for $20. I had the jeweler attach the diamond clasp to the $20 duplicate string of pearls. Then I called up Lola. Hello, Lola. Okay, you're in?
Oh, Mr. Marlowe. Yes, it's okay here.
I have a string of pearls for you.
Oh, really, Philip? Really? Did you get...
Now, wait a minute, Lola. Waldo was getting set to gyp you. We sold the real pearls and made up a string with the diamond clasp.
Oh. Well, may I at least have the clasp?
Sure. Meet me at 4 at Nikolaev's.
Nikolaev's at 4. I'll be there.
Hey, yeah, Lola. These are the pearls the police found in Waldo's car.
You're right. They're not my pearls.
I'm sorry, Lola.
No. I still have the clasp that Johnny gave me.
Well, I'm happy if you are.
Happy? No, not quite happy. See, this morning my husband told me we're to separate.
Oh, I'm very sorry, Lola.
You've been very kind.
That's all right.
This is goodbye, I suppose.
Yeah. You'll never get over Johnny Dalmas. Goodbye, Lola. And if anybody ever bothers you again, let me know, huh? Name's Marlowe. Philip Marlowe.
I'll remember. Philip Marlowe.
I drove almost to Malibu. And then I parked. And then I walked. Way out on a rock cliff, jutting into the Pacific Ocean. And then I reached into my pocket and dug out the string of bohemian glass pearls Lieutenant Ibarra had found in Waldo's car. I cut the knot at one end and slipped the pearls off, one by one. One by one, I flipped them into the water. Should have seen the gulls swoop down on them. Then they flapped up again, screaming indignantly. Phony pearls. They'd fooled Waldo and Lola Barceley, but they couldn't fool the seagull. I said aloud, to the memory of Johnny Delmas, just another four-flusher. I listened a while to the wheeling seagulls. All at once, I realized that the wind had died. The Santa Ana had blown itself out. The red wind was done. It was over. It was cool again.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. In tonight's story, Red Wind, Lola was played by Peggy Weber, and Barry Kroger was Baldy. Joan Banks played Eugenie Kolchenko. Jeff Corey was Lieutenant Ibarra. Parley Bear was Barsley. Lou Krugman was Waldo, and Wilms Herbert played the bartender. The special music was conceived and conducted by Ivan Ditmars. Philip Marlowe will be back in just a moment. Young man, be a Marine. Combine travel, adventure, and education at no expense to yourself. When you're a Marine, you can travel to the far places of the earth and carry on at the same time your own educational program through free Marine Corps Institute correspondence courses. You have plenty of courses to choose from, and an ideal way of studying geography or history is to take a course dealing with the background of the area in which you are stationed, or any of the more than 160 Marine Corps Institute courses. Thanks to this Marine Corps Institute, thousands of Marines are making continual educational advancements during their service in the U.S. Marine Corps. That opportunity, upon becoming a U.S. Marine, is yours for the asking. Check with your nearest Marine Corps recruiting office tomorrow for complete information. Next week at the same time, be sure to tune in for another adventure of Philip Marlowe, when Marlowe says,
I was low, very low the night I set out searching for the girl with the strange hazel eyes. The fog which hung over Los Angeles didn't help, and I felt even worse when I found her, for by then I had death on my hands.
If you like your laughs mingled with spicy music, be around tomorrow to hear the premiere of Alka-Seltzer Time, featuring Herb Schreiner and Raymond Scott's quintet. There'll be guest stars, too. Here's a show that's guaranteed to keep Monday from being blue. It's coming your way Mondays through Fridays over most of these CBS stations. So consult your local newspaper for the time of Alka-Seltzer Time. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The makers of Old Nick.
Old Nick? Oh, boy, Old Nick is a wonderful candy bar.
And Bit of Honey.
Bit of honey? It's a honey, honey, honey of a candy bar.
Presents David Harding, Counterspy.
Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
Before we begin today's Counterspy case, Sally, let's try another experiment in psychology with Bit of Honey Candy Bar.
Like the one they reported in Life magazine a while back when we did mental telepathy for old Nick?
Yes, except today, just for fun, let's try conditioned reaction. Jesse Crawford will help us. And now, in the Bit of Honey song, these 4 notes stand for the words Bit of Honey. Those notes are the musical symbol for the words Bit of Honey. In a few seconds, our listeners will find that little tune brings the same sense of delicious satisfaction that is now produced by the words Bit of Honey. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, is always fine, but especially in the summertime. You see, has a distinctive mild honey flavor sprinkled all through. Our crunchy crushed almonds, the separate wrapping of the 6 generous pieces in a candy bar, makes it extra easy and convenient to eat in summertime. What's more, the unusual zesty flavor of candy bar is especially appropriate to warm weather. Try for yourself wherever fine candy is sold. Ask for Candy Bar this evening if you can. You'll agree that, yes, Bit of Honey is a honey, honey, honey of a candy bar, and only 5 cents. On last April 11th, Mary Linton, a dark-complexioned woman of 30 with intense, piercing eyes, stood in the center of the large Brooklyn garage which she owned, watching several men work on some late-model automobiles. Cora Linton, her younger sister, and a very pretty girl, watched the repair work for a moment and then turned to Mary.
Mary? Mary? Sorry, Cora. You saying something?
Yeah, I think I'm going to trot off to the movies.
Stick around for a while, Cora.
Oh, but Mary, I don't do anything.
Stick around. I'm expecting Jack Taylor soon.
Mary, you know how I feel about Jack.
And I know how Jack feels about you. Stay put. Say hello to him.
I hate him. He's a good...
He's all right. If he'll stick with me, he's going to have a good future. Besides, he's crazy about you.
Oh, please, Mary,
That must be Jack now. All right. Open her up, Tony.
Hiya, Mary.
Hello, Jack.
Cora. Wow, you waiting for me, beautiful?
No, I was just...
She stayed to say hello to you, Jack.
Oh, Mary, what do you think of this car? It's a real beaut, ain't she?
Buick, 1942 Deluxe.
Uh-huh.
Good enough. Cora, didn't I tell you Jack is a smart boy?
Yeah.
You can't be a dodo and pick up cars like this, Cora. You know, Mary, the sucker didn't even leave his keys in the ignition. I had to switch wires to start it. And it only took me 50 seconds flat.
For that 50 seconds work, you're going to get $250.
$250? Hey, this car's worth $1,800.
If you had a bill of sale for it, Jack. Now, I got to have the serial numbers changed, switch parts, ship the car out of the country. $250 is a good price for a hot car.
That don't sound like much. I'll take it on one condition.
What's that?
Cora helps me spend it.
No, Sure she will, Jack. Come on inside the office. I'll give you the money. Got your rye, Cora.
I don't want anything to drink, Mary.
Suit yourself.
I wish you'd listen when I want to say something.
I know what you're going to say. You don't like the racket we're in.
Yes. Be nice to those crooks. How can you do this to me, Mary?
Look, my darling sister, in my own funny way, I love you.
Sure.
I want you to be nice to Jack Taylor because the sap brings me $1,800 cars for $250. But if Jack or anybody gets festive with you, I'll put a bullet in him myself.
But it's not only Jack. I'm scared of the cops and the counterspies. If you're caught,
I'll see that you slip out. Meanwhile, the racket is paying for this swell apartment, all our clothes, anything we want.
Honest, Mary, I'd rather go to work.
Doing what? You can't even type. Forget it. Let me do the work. I'll take that. Yep.
Miss Linton?
Which one?
Mary Linton.
Speaking.
Miss Linton, my name is Sam French. I'm from Chicago.
So?
A mutual friend of ours told me to look you up.
Who is he?
Alf Burton.
Yeah? Alf Burton's a very good friend of mine.
Alf and I are buddies. Can I come over to see you?
Why not? We'll be home. You've got the address, I suppose?
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Who is that, Mary?
A man named Sam French from Chicago. He says Alf Burton sent him.
Who?
Alf Burton, Chicago. You don't know him. Anybody he sends over should be all right, I guess.
Not sure,
Nothing like making sure, Cora. We're going to check before we get chummy.
Mary Linton?
Oh, no, I'm Cora Linton, his sister.
Oh.
Mary's inside. Won't you come in?
Thank you. Well, if your sister's as beautiful as you...
Don't move, Mr. French.
I don't understand. What's your gun for?
I'll tell you in a minute. Cora, see if Mr. French has a gun.
All right. Yes, he has one.
Take it.
I have it.
Now step away from Mr. French. Now, Mr. French, you may walk into the living room.
I still don't understand. I'm a friend of Alf Burton.
That's what you say, Mr. French. I want to hear it myself from Alf Burton. I'm fine, Alf. Look, the reason I'm phoning you, did you send up a friend to see me?
Sure did, Mary. Smart boy named Sam French.
Well, there's a guy here now who claims he's Sam French. What does he look like?
About 5 feet 9 to 10, blue eyes, straight, short nose.
So far, so good?
Nice-looking boy with them blue eyes and blonde hair.
Hold it. What'd you say about his hair?
Wait, I forgot to tell you.
Don't move. Try that again and I'll blast you. Alf, what'd you say was the color of Sam French's hair?
Blonde, color of straw, can't miss it.
Man here is dark-haired, black.
Hold it. Now, wait a minute. Just give me a chance to talk with you.
Talk fast, Mr.
My hair's dyed. I had to fool the police. I didn't want them to know I was going to New York. Examine my hair. You'll see it's dyed.
Oh, Mary, maybe he's telling the truth. He's got blue eyes.
Don't move. Hello, Alf. I'm not sure of this man. Anything more definite I can identify?
Yeah. Come to think of it, there is. Sam French has a little strawberry mark on his left arm. Try to get it off once. There's an acid mark around.
Wait a minute, I'll see. You, roll up your left sleeve.
That's right, my birthmark. Want to hold it off.
Cora, don't get in front of him. Just see what he's got on his left arm.
Oh. There's a small red mark, a birthmark. There's a scar around it.
Well, your hair could be dyed. Thanks, Alf. Drop in when you're in New York. Guess you're all right, Sam.
Whew. I wouldn't want to go through that again.
Sorry. I had to be sure.
You're a smart dame, Mary. Like Alf said. Just the kind of dame I want to hook up with.
We can talk about that at dinner. I know a nice place where we can talk. We owe you a treat for that scare. Anything else you'd like, Sam? Cora?
Nothing, Mary.
Not a thing, Mary. Now, can I get down to business?
Sure. What's on your mind?
I'm looking for a New York contact, Mary. Like you. I can pick up cars in Chicago and points west and ship them to New York.
What makes you think I'm interested?
Well, Burton tells me you've got some swell outlets. Mexico, South America.
I managed to get rid of my cars.
You could make plenty getting rid of my cars.
Sure. But there's something else.
What?
The Cicero mob.
So?
Who's running the Cicero mob now?
Nobody knows.
Oh, whoever he is, he's a smart operator. The Cicero mob is my main competition. We run into each other.
That's what's worrying you?
They're tough. What do you think's going to happen to you, Sam, if you steal cars in their territory and ship them to me?
I'll take my chances. I got a few boys of my own who are plenty tough. We'll handle the Cicero mob if we have to.
What? It'll be your funeral.
And you'll take my shipments?
As many as you can deliver.
Good. You'll get my first shipment when I get back to Chicago.
When will that be?
That depends on Cora.
Me? I don't understand.
I'd like to spend a few days in New York. That is, if you'll show me around, Cora.
Oh, really, Sam?
Sure, Cora will step out with you, Sam. You'll be glad to, won't you, Cora?
I didn't know you could drive this well, Cora.
Well, this car drives itself. Where'd you get it, Mr. French?
I bought it. I wouldn't drive a stolen car.
Certainly a bit of honey of a car.
Turn into that dirt road ahead.
Why?
It's a shortcut. Now stop.
I will not.
No? Then I will. I'll take the key.
Sam, please.
Better relax, Cora. I won't hurt you.
Sam, please give me that key.
Uh-uh.
When I tell Mary, she's not going to like this, Sam.
But you're not going to tell her.
Sam, she'll kill you, I swear.
I can take care of myself. What's more, I'm going to take care of you.
Sam, you wouldn't.
That's not what you think. I'm just going to, sort of hold you in protective custody.
Protective? What for?
I just want your sister to come to terms.
But I thought you had this evening at the restaurant.
That's what I wanted Mary to think, Cora. She doesn't know that I'm the leader of the Cicero mob.
Why, you?
I don't want to have to hurt you, Cora. This is a private fight between Mary and me. I'm taking over the New York territory, and I'm going to...
Oh, Sam! Oh!
Cora, you all right?
Yeah. You wanted to kidnap.
All right now, baby. Don't worry.
Jack, how'd you know?
I just didn't like his face. I didn't like you traveling around with him, so I followed you.
It's all Mary's fault. She made me go out with her. It's Mary's fault.
What's that about Mary?
It's Mary's fault. Mary made me be nice to Sam. Made me nice to all the men I didn't want to.
Oh, she did, huh? Cora, here, you take my gun. Go on, take it. Put it in your pocketbook so if any other guy tries to pull a fast.
Thanks, Jack. Now will you take me home?
Sure. Oh, wait a minute. I got a better idea. Take the gun out of your bag.
What you say?
Go on. Drop it on the floor of the car near the trunk.
Oh, all right.
Come on. We'll get out of here before somebody sees us. Then we're going to have a talk with Mary.
Jack! Carl, what happened?
How did you know something happened?
My radio. I keep it tuned to the police call. Carl, what happened? The police announcer says Sam French is dead.
He is. I shot him.
Start talking, Jack.
Your little playmate from Chicago was going to play kidnap with Cora until you came to terms.
Terms? We came to an agreement earlier this evening.
Oh, yeah? Sam was leader of the Cicero mob.
What?
He came here to get you out of the way.
Daddy. Jack, I certainly owe you something for saving Cora.
Forget it.
The cops think a dame drove Sam's car. Cora must have left a couple of hairpins or something.
That's all?
Yeah, nothing to worry about. The car was Sam's. I'll never trace it. What's so funny?
Mary, the murder gun is in the car, right alongside of Sam French.
I don't get it.
The cops will, Mary. Cora's fingerprints are all over that gun.
What? You crazy? You shot Sam.
Sure, but I wiped off my prints and handed the gun to Cora. Her fingerprints are all over it. What? Cora ran out. The police will think only one thing. Cora killed Sam and ran away.
You did that to Cora? You did that to my kid sister, you slimy rat! Dirty double...
Stop, wait a minute! Stay away from that drawer.
Mary's got a gun!
That's better. Come on over here and sit down, Mary.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you pin a kill on Cora?
Because you played me for a sucker, Mary. That's why, with Cora for bait.
You got me wrong.
No, you got me wrong. You didn't figure me for a guy who uses his head, did you? Well, baby, it's little Jack Taylor who does all the talking from now on in.
All right, Jack. What have you got in mind?
Cora here has no police record. The cops will never know whose fingerprints are on that murder gun unless I tell them. And I will tell them, too, unless...
Unless what?
Unless you and me become partners, baby.
So that's the way it is.
Yeah. 50-50 on the whole setup.
Nothing small about you, is there, Jack?
Not a thing. But Sam French dead will take over his Cicero mob. Well, what do you say?
You know I wouldn't turn Cora over to the police.
Okay, then we're partners. Now, how did you come to hook up with Sam French?
Friend of mine. Alf Burton in Chicago.
Alf Burton, huh? Okay, that's my first stop. Alf Burton in Chicago.
Counterspy will continue in just a moment. But right now, I can see that Jimmy wants to wheedle an old Nick candy bar or a nickel out of me. Today, Jimmy, you won't do it. I'm determined. You're absolutely right, Mr. Krupp. I want to apologize for the way I've been putting you on the spot. I've flattered you, asked you riddles, and teased you in order to get old Nick candy bars. It's not fair, is it? Oh, Jimmy, I don't really mind. No, sir, I haven't been fair. For instance, you have an old Nick candy bar in your pocket today, haven't you? Well, certainly, I always have an old Nick candy bar handy. It's as fine a candy bar as I know, with that thick milk chocolate coating.
Creamy, buttery, smooth caramel.
And the fudge and... Oh, fresh toasted nuts. It sure is good eating.
Well, today, if I pointed how much money you make, a big-time radio announcer, that is, and how you got plenty of old Nick candy bars, and how utterly delicious old Nick candy bars are, and how I'm broke and don't have any, and I'm so hungry for an old Nick. Well, if I did that, it'd make you sound like the worst kind of a heel if you didn't give me one. Wouldn't it?
Oh, okay, Jimmy, here you are. Now tell him what you think of old Nick, you rascal.
Old Nick? Oh, boy! Old Nick is a wonderful candy bar.
Get some soon, folks, wherever fine candy is sold.
You'll like old Nick.
Now back to our Counterspy case.
I'll take this report into Mr. Harding myself.
Busy, Chief? Oh, hello, Peter. Just studying this map layout of stolen cars in the United States.
Maybe this teletype report will fit in, Chief. Sam French, a hot car artist from Chicago, was just killed in New York.
Uh-oh. This may be the beginning.
Of what?
This report of stolen cars shows that the heaviest concentrations are around New York and Chicago. Sam French, a Chicago mobster, being killed in New York means only one thing.
The New York and Chicago gangs are beginning to cross each other.
Exactly. Peter, there's enough incentive in stolen cars for gangsters to start a bloody massacre that may rival Prohibition days. We've got to stop it, Peters, before it gets started.
Mr. Bill? Call me out. A friend of Mary Linton is a friend of mine, Jack.
Ah, glad to hear it. Besides, there's a piece of quick change for helping Mary.
In what way?
Information.
What do you want to know?
Sam French died. Okay. Who's running the Cicero mob now?
It ain't settled yet. Several of the boys have ideas.
Well, they better forget those ideas. The Cicero mob is going to be run from New York.
His boys are tough and hungry. They ain't giving up nothing.
Well, listen to reason, huh?
Each one of them boys figures he'll be the big boss.
I can't waste any time.
Don't see how you can rush matters. Like I said, they have their own ideas.
They have their own ideas, huh? Alf, what are the names of the boys with the ideas?
Gang war is flaring up in Chicago, Mr. Harding.
What's the report?
2 more gangsters killed in Chicago. Both men were connected with Sam French at one time.
Sam French again. Peters, have they turned up on anything on the Sam French killing?
Nothing new, Chief. There's a clear set of fingerprints on the gun, but the local police haven't yet identified the prints.
Peters, wire our New York field office.
And?
Have them step into the Sam French case. Requisition the murder weapon and have it sent to Washington. Also have our New York office put the murder car through the laboratory.
Will do, Chief.
Well, I guess I kind of got this little blowout coming to me, huh, Mary?
You're working fast, Jack.
With those men who were killed in Chicago.
Listen to the baby. There'll be plenty more killed before I'm finished, Cora. I'm organizing Chicago if I have to knock off every last mobster in that town.
Jack, I've been in the racket longer than you.
So?
I never had to do any killing. Murder's a sure way to get the cops down on it.
You're all right for that local stuff, Mary, but this is big time. I'm going to combine all the hot car setups in the entire country. And I'm going to do it fast and sure.
By killing?
By knocking off the opposition before it gets started.
Mary, I can't stand it any longer.
Take it easy, Cora.
Oh, this killing. Stealing cars is bad enough, but murder and more murder.
Getting any ideas, Cora?
Yes. I'm getting out. I'll leave town, go to work somewhere.
Oh, no, you won't.
You can't stop me. I'll run away.
Cora, the cops have got a set of fingerprints on a murder gun, remember? Now, just suppose they find out whose prints they are.
Now, stop it, both of you. Cora isn't going anywhere.
Oh.
Cora better not get any ideas.
Now, stop crying, Cora. Go powder your nose or something.
All right.
Mary, I don't like the way Cora acts.
All this talk about killing, she'll get over it.
Cora may be your sister, but...
What do you mean?
Sister or no sister, she's getting dangerous.
I don't like what you're driving
You'd
at.
better. Mary, there might be a time when it'll be either Cora or you.
Shut up. Cora's no danger. I'll control her.
You better.
We've just completed an analysis of the gun used in the Sam French murder, Chief.
Good.
We've confirmed at least one police deduction. A woman handled the gun after the fatal bullet was fired. We found some particles of face powder in the barrel of the gun. The girl apparently had put the gun in her bag, then took the gun out and dropped it near French's body.
What was the type of powder?
High grade, but sold commonly in department stores of the better kind. A deep shade. The girl evidently is a dark brunette. This is confirmed by a smear of lipstick on the gun. The lipstick is dark, almost purple, the kind used by girls with black hair.
Well, that's a big help, Peters. We've got to find that girl. She's the key to this particular car-stealing racket.
Chief, there are only 140 million persons in the United States.
Half are men, remember?
That still leaves 70 million.
Hardly. The murder took place in New York. We can reasonably infer that the girl's a New York resident. New York City, most probably.
I'll go along with you on that, Chief, but it still leaves about 7 million persons, 3.5 million women.
Not if you stop to think a minute, Peters. Most women have hair of varying shades of brown. Blondes and extreme brunettes are in the minority.
That's right. And here's something else. This girl was driving Sam French's car. It's reasonable to assume that she had a driver's license.
Yes, exactly, Peters. That narrows it to a girl with black hair, eyes probably deep brown or black, who has a driver's license and is on file with the Motor Vehicle Bureau in New York.
At best, Chief, there'll still be several hundred girls in New York answering to that description.
Yeah, that's true enough. Now, have we received an analysis of the murder car?
Not yet, but it may come through at any time.
A chemical analysis of the dust on the floor of the car, dust from the shoes of the driver, will isolate still further the neighborhood where this girl lives.
It's logical.
Peters, order a plane for New York. I've got an idea we may be able to locate the girl who was with Sam French.
This tailwind will be in New York in about an hour, Chief.
That's fine. If we're reasoning correctly, this case ought to break tomorrow.
That's New York calling, Chief.
Harding to New York. Go ahead.
New York to Harding. Plan 14 put into operation. All preliminaries covered. Awaiting reaction of subject involved.
Very good, J6. Should arrive in New York within the hour. I'll meet you at field headquarters.
Come on, move up, please, lady.
I got this notice to bring my license to the Motor Vehicle Bureau.
You're in the right place, lady. You got your right license?
Yes, but I don't understand why I...
You and all the rest of the people online, all we want is your license. You'll be given new ones.
Oh, here it is. Anything wrong with it?
Not a thing. We're starting to issue a new form, that's all. See, Cora Linton, address, good enough. Sit down. Your name will be called and the new blanks filled out. No additional fee.
Oh, there you are, Cora. Jack was asking about you.
Yeah, and it ain't love, baby. I'd just like to see you close to home.
Oh, can't I leave the house for 5 minutes?
You've been gone all afternoon.
I had to go down to the Motor Vehicle Bureau, that's all. Make me a drink, will you, sis?
Sure.
Motor Vehicle Bureau? So now did your license expire?
No, they wanted me to come there, and that's that.
Here's your drink, Cora.
That motor vehicle story smells fishy.
I got the notice. I can prove it here. Take a look at this. It's smart money.
Yeah. So you had to bring your license to the Motor Vehicle Bureau, huh?
They just took my license and gave me a new one. Me and thousands of other girls.
Yeah? No men?
I didn't notice. Come to think of it, no, only girls.
Oh, forget about it. Women's Day at the Motor Vehicle Bureau. Have a drink, Jack.
No. Let's talk about it some more, Cora. What kind of women were there?
I don't know. Girls, young women.
Only young women, huh? Lots of brunettes?
I don't... What do you mean?
What's biting you, Jack?
Look, suppose the cops figured out it was a black-haired young dame who drove Sam French's car. Somebody might have seen her and Sam.
Well, they couldn't have. We didn't stop anywhere.
Oh, you must have stopped for a red light. Somebody saw you. So the cops play it smart. They look up all the driver's license. They call in all the blackhead dames on some phony excuse.
Oh, you're crazy. There was a room full of people.
You hand in your old license. It's got your fingerprints all over it.
Don't go getting any ideas.
I had one all along.
Jack, don't shoot!
Let go my arm. So help me. I'll let you have it.
You can't do it. You can't kill me. Stop it!
Drop it, I tell you. Lucky for you, Mr. Superintendent was around.
So glad you're here, even if you are the police.
United States Counterspy.
Oh, I tell you, I knew Cora in Texas, but she ain't getting away with it. That's the girl who killed Sam French. Her fingerprints are on the murder
He's
count.
lying. Please, listen to me. He's lying. Cora's innocent. She was with Sam French, but Jack killed him.
Shut up, you fool. You're getting your own negative.
Quiet and let the lady talk.
I'll talk plenty.
I imagine you will, Miss Linton, but it's best it'll just confirm the evidence we have concerning your car-stealing setup. All right, Peter, take them to headquarters.
David Harding will be back in just a moment to tell you about next week's exciting case. Say, I sure want to hear about that. I heard it was sensational. But don't you want to hear about Old Nick candy bars first, Jimmy? Now, look, Mr. Krupp, Roger. What can you tell me about Old Nick candy bars? I enjoy one every day. That's all I need to know. But what about those folks who never had the pleasure of tasting Old Nick?
Never tasted Old Nick candy bar? Is it possible?
That's right. Even though Old Nick has been a favorite of millions for over a quarter century, there are still some folks who've never enjoyed that smooth, thick chocolate coating.
The crunchy peanuts and buttery rich caramel?
And the creamy fudge. 4 famous candies blended into one delicious bar.
Now, what do you know?
Well, what'll we do?
Tell him.
Tell him?
Old Nick? Oh, boy. Old Nick is a wonderful candy bar.
As Jimmy points out, you've missed a rare treat if you've missed Old Nick. Get some Old Nick candy bars soon. Why not this evening?
You'll like Old Nick.
This is David Harding speaking. For months, Private First Class Fred Parker, stationed with the American occupation troops in Europe, had looked forward to his wife and family joining him. But a certain man in this country had other ideas which included gambling, murder, and double cross. How these different elements, thousands of miles apart, suddenly came into focus makes next week's Counterspy broadcast an exciting, timely expose. I invite you to listen.
Sunday, August 4th, same time, same station. David Harding, Counterspy, is a Phillips H. Lord production.
3345.
3345. 3345.
Crime does not pay.
Sylvie, I'm going out.
This time of night? What for?
The fire is near here.
You and your fires. What are you, a little boy? Stop chasing fire engines. Grow up.
That was my mistake, growing up.
Of all the silly things to say.
Silly, that... What else is there to do for excitement?
I could mention a few things, like taking your wife out, for instance.
I mean real excitement. Action. Like the ladders going up, the hoses dragged up the fire escapes, people jumping into nets, all the bells, the sirens. Oh, what's the use? They're coming back already. A small fire. Someday there's going to be a real fire in this neighborhood. A real fire.
Nick, stop it. When you talk like that, you frighten me.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Gasoline Cocktail, starring Bela Lugosi.
Crime Does Not Pay, starring Bela Lugosi as Nick Segadin in Gasoline Cocktail. Sometimes the trouble begins out of sheer frustration. The need for excitement, the need to blow off steam, can cause a man's mind to work in devious ways. There's the thrill holdup, the beating administered more to the world at large than to the immediate victim, the theft for the sake of the dare it represents. With Nick Segadin, it was the lighted match, the licking flame, and, of course, the roar and scream of the fire engines racing through the city streets.
Two lines in the front door. Line up 74 and 56 engines. There's pipes standing by.
Third floor's gone, Chief.
All right. Pull out the men from 25 truck. Denny, turn in the second. This one's too hot for us to handle without help.
Yes, sir. Chief, the 6th Battalion ordered me to report to you, sir. We're 22 truck.
22 truck. When did you get here?
First due on the 2nd.
All right. I'm releasing you. Go back to quarters.
Yes, sir.
Driver, notify dispatcher. All second alarm equipment released and sent back to quarters.
Well, Chief, almost had yourself a nasty one, didn't you?
Oh, Warren. Well, how's the fire marshal's business?
Still doing things with magnifying glasses?
Microscopes these days. I see you had 3 boys hurt.
Well, nothing too bad. Punctured hand, cut cheek. We were lucky this time. The stairwell was like a chimney. Fire mushroomed up onto the 3rd floor. Took 6 women down the ladders. You find anything yet?
Looks like the usual. Baby carriage full of trash under the stairs. Cigarette, match, boom. I'll see you around, Chief.
Right, Warren. Chances are you will.
I beg your pardon, sir. You are the fire marshal?
Yes. How'd you know?
I've seen the car in which you came to the fire. Since I was a boy in Hungary, I followed the fires.
I guess boys are boys all over the world.
Yes, all over. But I wish to know, have you found out how this started?
You found out where it started? Why do you want to know?
Oh, it's just that I'm interested in these things. And this is a bad one.
Bad isn't the word for it. We're just lucky no life was lost.
Yes, very lucky indeed. Thank you very much. If people only were more careful where they throw matches. Sylvie, I'm going out.
This time of night? What for?
The fire is near here.
You and your fires. What are you, a little boy? Stop chasing fire engines. Grow up.
That was my mistake, growing up.
Of all the silly things to say.
Silly, is it? What else is there to do for excitement?
I could mention a few things, like taking your wife out, for instance.
In the old days in Budapest, you ran after the engines with me.
Now I wish I hadn't.
There was excitement then. Now what? A job to go to. With men I would not care to look at. Then back to this house, day after day, night after night.
No, Nick, not night after night. And even though you don't care to look at the men, you look at a girl, all right.
Sylvie, this is...
I know her name, Edna Hall, and her address, 5546 Erie Street. Yes, I know. But if you think, Nicholas Segadin, that I let go of you, you are wrong. Wrong.
But don't you see this is all in your mind?
In my mind? I have walked past her house.
Of course there is a house in your mind. All this is like myself and the engines. You wish for excitement, and there is none. So, my poor Sylvie, you make it up, out of your head, that I, your Nicholas, go for rides in a car with another woman. Tonight, my dear Edna, tonight you are more lovely than I ever seen you.
Oh, Nick, you're teasing me again.
Listen!
What's the matter, darling?
You hear them? The fire engines.
Oh, that, yes.
I will go to the fire, too.
Nick, you're like a little boy.
You do not mind this?
No, I don't. But a cop would mind the way you're passing red lights.
Oh, for a moment, I think I'm really driving the big truck.
But you're not. Oh, Nick, there they are. See all the red lights up there?
I see them. Edna, you're excited, too.
Oh, who wouldn't be?
It's nothing. They haven't even taken the hose off the hose truck. There's nothing to watch.
Why, Nick, shouldn't you be glad it wasn't much?
Perhaps it was discovered too soon. Oh, yes. I'm glad. Now, let's stop here, near the park. It's a good place to stop, huh, Edna?
Oh, yes, darling. Oh, Nick, I wish I could bring you home with me. But you know how Dad is. He thinks you're too middle-aged for me.
Perhaps I am. No.
Oh, Nick. Nick, you're wonderful.
And you are more than wonderful. I cannot be without you.
Is this a proposal, Nick? Are you asking me to marry you?
I cannot ask that, my beloved. She's not well. There cannot be a divorce.
I'm sorry, Nick. I guess you'd better take me home.
So, you too are like all the others.
Nick!
The rides, the kisses, but always we must be married. Is love nothing in this country without marriage? Nothing?
Nick, people will hear you.
Oh, so let it be. I'll take you home. Again, I'm rejected. But there will be a day for Nicholas Sagadin will come soon.
Nick, what in heaven's name are you doing in that closet?
Looking for something.
Why didn't you ask me first?
All right, I ask you second. The glass jug in which came the wine from your father. Where is it?
Right up there on the shelf. I straightened the closet yesterday.
Thank you. You need this rag, Sylvia?
No. What do you want with it?
Oh, always questions.
Oh, Nick. You've been like your old self these past few days. You've been home at night.
I told you once I'm not changed.
What do you want with the jug?
I am cleaning the seats in the car. So I will draw gasoline from the tank into the jug, and with that rug, I will wipe. Very simple, isn't it?
Oh, be careful, won't you, dear?
Careful.
Yes. Gasoline burns and explodes. Be careful.
Yes. I will be careful. Very careful. But like everything in this world, if the gasoline explodes in the proper place, it is all right.
Explodes? Where, Nick? Where?
Where else but in the motor of the car? Where else?
Almost ready to turn out the light, Jen?
Yes, I am ready, Edna.
All right, hop her to bed.
Oh, your bed is softer than mine. That's one reason why I like to spend the night at your house.
What's the other reason?
I like to talk in the dark like this.
What about, Jen?
No, just anything. It's easy to talk in the dark. That's why I come over. You know, Edna, you're only a few years older than I am, but you know so much more.
I'm flattered. I wish it were true.
Jen! What's that? Through the window. Somebody threw something. It's burning!
Diamond Denny, Truck 25 reporting, Chief. We found a couple of roasts on the first floor.
Whereabouts, Denny?
Room where the fire started. It seems to have been a bedroom, sir. The metal frame of the bed is still recognizable.
Anything on the man in the other bedroom?
Yeah, doctor said it's smoke poisoning and shock. He'll be all right.
Okay. There's a public ambulance coming down from City Hospital. Have it take the bodies to the morgue. But don't bring them out on the street until the ambulance is here.
Yes, sir.
And notify the dispatcher I'm releasing 22 truck and 74 engine. Well, if it weren't for those 2 deaths, this might not have been as bad as it looks.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Gasoline Cocktail. Now, we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Bela Lugosi as Nick Segadin in Gasoline Cocktail. Whenever death has been caused by fire, even under the least suspicious circumstances, the fire marshal is joined in his investigation by the district attorney's office and the police. Therefore, the day following the death of Edna Hall and her guest Janice, 3 men checked over the wreckage of what had been the girl's bedroom. Fire Marshal Warren, Assistant District Attorney Morrison, and Detective Stein.
The girls must have been sleeping soundly for it to get so much headway.
A neighbor who pulled the box said he heard what sounded like an explosion.
Seen anything of a gas heater or an oil stove?
The building's steam heated.
Oh.
The men on the first truck to respond said it looked like an oil fire to them. Hello.
Find something, Marshal?
What's this look like to you, Morrison?
Piece of glass. Too heavy for a light bulb, but...
What do you think, Stein?
Oh, perfume bottle, maybe. One of those things girls like to have on dressing tables.
It's a mighty big bottle. Look at the curvature of the glass.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh, wouldn't the heat of the fire have melted it?
Not without blackening it some. Anyhow, I found this in a corner behind the fire.
Behind it?
In this oven?
Yeah. Notice that corner near where the window was? Barely a smoke mark. Something forced the fire away from there and tossed this glass fragment in there.
Explosion is right, then. Hey, wait a minute. How about this?
Looks like the neck and the handle of a gallon jug.
Saw it a minute ago and passed it up. It's the same glass as the marshal's fragment.
The microscopes will prove that for us. Now, hold it up to light a minute.
Yeah, sure. Here.
There. See those bits of, lint, I guess, on the inside of the bottleneck?
Yeah, they look like it.
One will get you 10, they are. That's how it started, all right. A jug of gasoline with a lighted rag in its neck tossed through the window. Boom.
Molotov cocktail.
What's that, son?
I said Molotov cocktail. We use beer bottles against Nazi tanks in the Bulge. Same principle. And pretty much the same effect.
We'll try not to be too long, Mr. Hall. In fact, I'm sure the doctors won't permit us to stay more than a few minutes.
That's all right, Mr. Morrison. Anything I can do to help.
We're convinced, Mr. Hall, from various bits of physical and chemical evidence that the fire in your daughter's room began with a gasoline explosion.
Yes, we think it came from outside, Mr. Hall. A gasoline grenade through the window.
From outside? Oh. Then you think it was murder, too, huh?
Do you, Mr. Hall?
It's a grim charge on just my personal dislike of a man.
As someone who had cause to, want your daughter out of the way?
Yes. She thought she was in love with him. I refused to let him in the house. And she was meeting him outside. I knew it. Then she found out he was married. She broke it off with him. He was... I didn't like him, that's all.
Do you know his name, Mr. Hall?
Yes, it's Nick Segadin. He worked where Edna did. You can get his address there.
Yes?
Mrs. Segadin?
I am she.
I'm from the district attorney's office. My name is Morrison. This is Fire Marshal Warren, Detective Stein. May we come in, please? You can see our credentials if you wish.
Oh, no. Come in.
Thank you very much.
You?
Please, sit down.
And we'd like to see your husband. We understand he hasn't been to work for 3 days.
I'd like to see him, too.
When did you see him last, Mrs. Segedin?
3 nights ago. He went out. He did not come back.
Did he do anything funny that night, ma'am?
No, nothing. Just he went out to clean the seats of the car.
With what, Mrs. Segedin?
Oh, with gasoline.
Where'd he get it? The gasoline, I mean.
Oh, from the car. In a glass jug in which we had
Jug.
wine.
Well, that makes some sense.
What do you think he has done?
We think he killed someone. A girl named Edna Hall. And we think he used the gasoline.
You better tell us where he's gone, ma'am.
I don't know. I knew she was dead. I saw it in the paper. I don't know where he went.
One question, ma'am. Does your husband have any family anywhere in this country?
Yes, an uncle, Joseph, in Miami. But he wouldn't go there.
Thank you, Mrs. Segedin. He might not go there, and then again, he just might. All right, Stein. It looks as if you're going south this year, if only for a day or two.
Well, nice place you've got here, Mr. Segedin. Bet you do a swell business during the season, huh?
Good, not so good. We get along. You see what you like?
You betcha. 5 pounds assorted.
5 pounds we must make up. It's not ready.
Not many 5-pound customers this time of year in Miami, huh?
Not many. You do not mind waiting?
Oh, no. Go to it. From what I hear at the hotel, sweet spy Segedin are worth waiting for.
You try a truffle while you wait, yes?
Hey, thanks. Man, that's good. Very good. A service like this we don't get in New York.
You live in New York?
Yeah. My hometown.
I have nephew in New York.
That's so? What's his name? Maybe I know him.
If you do, you know my name. He is Nicholas Segedin, and that is a name nobody forgets. Besides, he moved just last week.
That's so? Where to?
Not far. He writes me postal card say he is tired of New York City. He moved to East Orange, New Jersey. Street with very funny name. Porter Street. 118 Porter Street. Like maybe the streetcar his suitcase for him.
It's a very funny name. Funny joke. You got a phone booth here?
Yes, sir. Right behind.
Thanks. While you're finishing up that box, I think I'll make a call. I just remembered. I've got to warn someone about a fellow I know. A fellow who likes to play with matches.
You like the fire in the fireplace, Nicholas.
Very much. Why?
You stare at it so. All day as you watch the fire.
I'm lucky, Lena. When I rented the room from your mother, I didn't expect that her daughter and the parlor, fireplace, and all were included.
Nicholas, you make fun of me.
I should say not. But of course not.
Then the log falls, so it always makes me jump.
Time for another log, isn't it?
No, it is too warm in here, Nicholas. You do not need another log. The fire will be too high.
Fires are never too high, Lena. Watch the flames. See? It's like a dance. So light, so graceful. But such power, such strength to the flame, Lena. Even from a little match. A whole house sometimes from a single little match.
Nicholas, you must not talk like this.
What then? Must I talk about your eyes, your hair, your pink cheeks?
You do make fun of me, Nicholas. I don't know about flames, but I know when someone makes fun of me.
You are a silly one. Come back here.
No, I will go upstairs. I don't like you, Nicholas. I thought I did, but I don't.
What's wrong with me? Lena, my dear.
I don't know. Inside, maybe something is wrong. No, Nicholas, I do not want to sit and talk with you anymore.
They all run away. like rabbits, and they don't know why. Tomorrow I find another room. I cannot live with rabbits, but this rabbit will feel my anger. This she will know before very long.
Miss Korsky?
Yes?
Your mother in, Miss Korsky?
No, officer. She's downtown.
Well, may we come in? This is Mr. Morrison, New York District Attorney, and Fire Marshal Warren.
Fire? Yes, you may come in.
All right, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Morrison, you can take it from here.
Thank you. Miss Korsky, is there a roomer here by the name of Nick Segedin?
Nick? Yes, sir.
Is he at home?
Yes, sir. That is, I think so. He has the front room, second floor.
You ever noticed anything, peculiar about this man, miss?
Peculiar? No, only he likes big fires in the fireplace.
Sounds like your man.
Yes. Let's drop in on him.
Right. Which way, miss?
Upstairs. First door on the right.
Thanks, miss.
I wouldn't come any further, gentlemen, if I were you.
All right, Segedin. We're here to take you in for arson and the murder of Edna and Janice Hall.
It is easy to say. I have a beer bottle, gentlemen, filled with gasoline, corked with a piece of rag. I have intended it as a parting gift for my landlady and her daughter. The house is full of mice. I find it's a very effective means.
No use, Segedin. We've got you dead to rights, and you know it.
One step more, gentlemen.
Warren.
Look out! Oh, get that bottle, Morrison. All right, I've got it. Nice shooting, officer.
Oh.
All right, it doesn't hurt that much, Segedin. It's only through your shoulder. It'll be fixed up good as new long before you burn for what you've done.
Crime does not pay. Bela Lugosi, who was starred as Nick Segedin in Gasoline Cocktail, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Bela Lugosi.
It is perfectly possible that Nick Segedin is more to be pitied than censored. Legally, Nick was sane, and he paid the penalty exacted by society. But society itself bears a large part of Nick's guilt. Nick never found proper training and education. Nick never found the opportunity to release his energies in the right direction. So you see, as always, it comes back to us, the responsible citizens of our community. If we see to it that the roots of crime, the social conditions which breed gangsters and warped people like Nick are removed, we will have taken a long step on the way to a better world for ourselves as well as the criminals. Crime does not pay.
Thank you, Bela Lugosi. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark D. Lowe, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Curtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
Gangbusters. Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Chicago tunnel gang, who dug their way to thousands in stolen currency until their ringleader's passion for saving $1 put them in the hole.
Gangbusters has asked Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath, retired of the Chicago Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case.
Thank you, Don Gardner. But first, I'd like to mention that one of your Gangbusters listeners, a Missouri sheriff, just last Sunday apprehended a murder suspect from Ohio, whose description he had first heard on Gangbusters. I think that the sheriff and Gangbusters deserve a lot of credit for this latest assist to law enforcement.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant McGrath. As a matter of fact, we hope to have the sheriff himself tell the story of this capture to our Gangbusters listeners on a later program. But now, how about tonight's case?
Well, Don, this case had its beginnings in the city of Chicago just about a year ago on a cold, windy morning. Inside the candy store she ran, Bella Mama, as she was known, straightened the magazines left poured over by the kids who dropped in on the way to school to spend their nickels playing her punch boards. She heard a bell on the front door tinkle and looked up to see a slightly built, red-haired man come in out of the cold.
Hello, Bella Mama. Oh, mean out.
If you expect warm, go to Florida.
It's coming, don't worry, it's coming. You got a scratch sheet yet?
You know 11 o'clock comes the scratch sheets. Hey, I just straightened out the magazines. Keep your hands off, huh?
Okay. Gotta do something waiting for Nick.
Nick's here in the back.
He told me he was gonna get a haircut.
He's getting a haircut in the back.
You're kidding.
In Joliet, they teach Harry the trade to be a barber. So Nick lets him practice and saves a few cents.
Yeah. Don't make any difference. Let Harry butcher him. Save a few cents. That's important, huh?
Sure, it's important.
Yeah, I know. In back, huh?
I just tell you, no?
Bring me a scratch sheet when I get here, will you, Bella Mama?
I bring.
Hello, Nick.
Come in, Red.
Hold your head still, will you, Nick?
Get through, Harry. I'm getting nervous.
Okay. You're next, Red.
No, thanks.
What's the matter? I'm doing a beautiful job on Nick.
Just get through and keep the hair from running down the back of my neck.
So you'll take a bath.
Be careful about them baths, Nick. They run up the water bills.
You got some objection to saving money?
I make big, I spend big. A 10-cent tip to a barber, I think nothing about it.
Okay, you don't have to get wise. Is everything sent?
Set as it'll ever be.
Okay. I want a clean job.
Hold still, Nick.
Yeah. Well, spell it, Red. The works.
It's an easy mark, Nick. 15 or 20,000. No less.
How much?
Cut the hair.
Okay, but after that haul, I'll throw the scissors right down the sewer.
Let's have it, Red.
The money wagon gets there about 11 o'clock in the morning. Maybe a few minutes sooner, a few minutes later.
And the burglar alarm?
2 cashier's cages. Foot button in each of them.
Foot button? Hey, that's not good.
Cut the hair, will you?
A guy can't even have an opinion around here.
What about the gift shop next door?
Yeah. That's the ticket, all right, Nick. It's a one-man outfit. The guy opens up for business about 9 in the morning.
Okay. We do it that way. Will we have any trouble getting in the gift shop?
None that I can see, Nick. There's a window in the alley. 2 minutes with a Jimmy and we're inside.
Hey, what's the gift shop got to do with this? We're taking the check cashing outfit. What do we want with the gift shop?
Finish the haircut, will you?
Tell me what the gift shop has got to do with it. Now finish the haircut. You think that's the only thing I got to do with this is cut your hair? You know, I got a stake in this thing, too, you know.
We got a burglar alarm to worry about. We can't walk into the joint and heist it just like that. One of those cashiers will step on the button.
Well, what do you need the gift shop for?
You tell him, Red.
Tell him yourself.
Well, somebody tell me.
Look, we break in the gift shop the night before.
So?
We go to work on the wall.
What wall?
What wall do you think? The wall between the gift shop and the check cashing joint.
Oh.
We cut it down to a thin layer of plaster. The truck delivers the money bags, the truck goes. We take a sledgehammer, knock out the plaster, and we're in the joint.
Well, what's the matter? Walking in the front door is too simple for us? We got to make it a big production?
Look, we knock out the wall. We're in back of the cashier's cage. We can see that they don't put their foot on the button. We make a cleaner getaway.
Well, I don't know. Hey, what about the guy that runs the gift?
Oh, we won't shoot.
That was neat, Nick. Neat.
Shut up on the names. If I come back and get him tied.
Yeah, come on, Red.
Go on, do it yourself. He won't give you any trouble.
He's heavy.
Do it yourself, will you? We got to work this thing out.
All right. Come on.
Gotta get the sign up.
Okay, right away.
Wait a minute.
What?
The money truck pulls up at 11 o'clock.
About done, yeah.
You go outside and wait for it.
It's almost 2 hours.
Go outside and wait in the street. And give me the high sign when the money truck pulls away.
Okay, boss.
He ain't going no place.
Okay, grab one of them sledges.
All right, I got mine. Now stand back. Hey, get easy, will you?
Get on that side.
Here, you mean?
Yeah. You all set, Red? I'm set. Okay. Now when I give the word, both of you knock out the wall. I'll jump through with the gun, and you can run after me.
Yeah, come on. Give the word.
Get set, Harry.
I'm set.
Okay, knock it through.
There she goes. I know I'm coming through. Go on, get him up, all of you. What do you want? It's a high lady. Keep your foot away from the button. Go on, keep him covered. There's the dough in the bag. Get it.
You bet you, boss.
Okay, all of you, move to the back. Go on, move.
Come on. All right, in the closet. All of you.
Get in there with him. Go on, you. Shut it. All right, lock it.
Yeah.
You got the dough?
Yeah, come on.
Come on, let's go.
Well, how's it come to, Nick?
Let me add it, will you, Red? 2... yeah. 14,332 and some change.
Who needs a change? Come on, cut it up.
Why don't you wait for Harry to get back from dumping the car?
He'll get his. You take it and you cut it 3 ways.
Just a second.
Where you going?
Just a second. Bella Mama.
Yeah, Nick?
Come here a minute, will you?
Sure, Nick. What's the matter?
Come in.
What's the idea, Nick?
Bella Mama, how'd you like to make a fancy note?
This is real money?
What do you think it is, jelly beans? Listen, Bella Mama, when Harry gets back here, tell him things got awfully hot. A couple of cops were around.
Uh-huh.
Red and me, we flew to the hotel. And he should wait until tomorrow morning and give me a ring on the telephone. Okay?
Why, Nick?
You want your C note?
Sure.
Then never mind why. Give her 100, Red.
Okay. 20, 40.
You take the 100 and tell Harry, huh?
80.
Okay, Nick, if you say.
100.
Hey,
20, 40.
That's all there.
Go on, Bella Mama. Get out front.
Sure. You want a spot sheet, Red?
Yeah, bring one in, will you?
He ain't got time for horses today. Go on, Bella Mama.
Yeah, I'm going.
What's the pitch, Nick?
Well, Harry's good for cutting hair, but he wouldn't know what to do with this kind of dough.
He worked, didn't he? He's got his slice coming.
Don't $7,000 sound better to you than 4.5?
A little better. Harry won't be so pleased.
Well, start him along. I got another job just like this one. It's all set. We could use his help. Then, the kiss off.
Look, you do this to Harry, maybe you got me in mind.
Now, Red.
I'll give you that now, Red business. I know how you are with a buck. We'll cut it half in 2 right now.
There's plenty of time.
We cut it half in 2 right now.
Okay, if you want it that way.
Yeah, I want it that way. What happens about Harry when he wises up?
What's the matter? You don't think there's enough water in the lake?
Yeah, I guess there's plenty.
But we need him on the other job, so we stop. Okay, Ben?
Yeah, okay. Come on. Let's split it half in 2. So, Don, within an hour after this sensational robbery, the ringleaders were already planning to dispose of the weakest member of the gang and share the money between themselves. But what criminals consider a weak link often proves the strongest wedge for investigating authorities.
Now back to Gangbusters.
Lieutenant McGrath, you were telling us that a gang of bandits led by Nick Lococo held up a Chicago currency exchange and robbed it of a large sum of money.
That's right, Don. And the first move of the police was to thoroughly question the witnesses in the case for information that might lead to an identification of these men. The next morning, Captain Rogers of the Chicago detectives went to the hospital where the gift shop proprietor was taken for treatment as a result of the blow on the head he'd received. While the victim rested, Captain Rogers sat alongside his bed attempting to get facts that would be valuable in the investigation.
Now, Mr. Klein, how much of a look did you get at these men?
Not much at all. I'm afraid they hit me almost as soon as I walked into the store.
Would you be able to recognize any of them if you saw them again?
Well, the one that dragged me back, I don't think I recognized his face, but when he was pulling me, I did notice something.
Oh? What?
Well, he thought I was unconscious, and I wanted him to think I was so he wouldn't hit me again. But when he was dragging me, I noticed he had a tattoo on his arm.
Huh? Of which arm?
Let's see now. He's pulling me backwards. He had... Yes, it was the right arm, between the wrist and the elbow.
Do you remember what kind of a tattoo it was, Mr. Klein?
It was a girl, I think, a bathing beauty.
You sure of that?
Oh, I'm pretty sure, Captain.
Well, I think this will be a lot of help to us, Mr. Klein. If anything turns up, we'll be in touch with you.
Hello, Bellamont.
Oh. Hello, Harry. Say, it's not safe here.
Look, I don't care what's safe anymore. I'm trying to locate Nick.
Well, I didn't see him since yesterday, not since the cops was around. You didn't call him at the hotel?
Yeah, I called him, but he ain't there. I got to get in touch with him. He's got something in mind.
You know, Harry, I like to help you, but I don't know nothing.
Okay. Give me a change for a quarter. I'll try to call him again.
Sure.
You, ain't seen Red either, huh?
No, neither of them. Listen, Harry, the cops was here. You get in trouble.
Give me the change.
Sure.
I'll try him once more. There you like that. I'll get it.
Okay, Harry.
Hello, Bella Mamas.
Let me talk to Bella Mama.
Is this Nick?
Harry?
Yeah, it's Harry.
I've been trying to reach you all over.
What do you think I've been trying to do? I want my dough.
Red and me, we had to fly. We think we're hot. We spent last night in Kankakee.
And you had to leave me. Well, listen, I need the dough. Where can I meet you?
We decided to pull another job tomorrow in Cedar Grove. We'll pick you up tonight. You know where.
Yeah, I know where, but what about now? I want my end.
You'll get it. We take what we get tomorrow, add it together, and split up the whole business.
But I need it now.
Be there tonight. We'll talk about it.
What's to talk about?
You be there.
Come on, Nick. Let's start splitting up the dough right now. This is the second
Listen,
job.
Harry, right now we got more to think about than splitting up. There's a million cops in the neighborhood. Traffic's pretty bad, eh, Red?
It ain't good. Well, look, this is the second job I broke my back over, and I ain't seen $1 yet.
Pull over, Red, quick.
Yeah? Well, what's the matter?
Listen, Harry, the traffic's heavy. 3 guys in the car looks fair. Now, go on. You take the street car to Bella Mama's. I'll call you.
Now, wait
Go on, make it snappy, will you? Every cop in town is headed this way.
Okay, give me the score. I'll take it to Bella Mama.
Get going, will you? We can't stand here.
Nick,
Go on. I'll phone you in an hour.
Okay, but be sure you do.
You'll phone him all right, Red. He'll never want to talk on the phone again.
Captain, cashier made an identification. The guy with the tattoo.
Oh?
Yep. She nailed one picture immediately. Harry Wagner. This one.
Ah, good. Good work, Sergeant. Have you got a line on his present whereabouts?
The records show his last address is...
Oh, I'll be right with you, Sergeant. Captain Rogers. Oh? Where? Cedar Grove? Cedar Grove. Okay, we'll get going out there. See you. Come on, Sergeant.
What's up?
Another currency exchange stick-up. Same tunnel game. Let's get out there.
I'm right with you.
Hello?
Is this Bella Mama's?
Yeah, is that you, Nick?
Yeah, it's me, Harry.
Where are you anyway?
Never mind where we are.
Well, listen, where can I meet you? I want my end.
What end?
What end do you think? The dough from those 2 children? Hey, what's going on?
That's too much money for you, Harry.
Now, listen, Nick, I got a right to my cut.
I'll give you a right to something else. Now get your things together and get out of town.
Out of town?
Yeah, and the farther the better for you.
Oh, please, Nick, give me some of it. I got a right.
Didn't you just hear me tell you to blow town?
I don't leave without my cut.
Okay, Harry. I'll send a couple of guys over to see you.
What for?
What for do you think? You're going to get pushed.
Me?
No, Nick, don't send no guys. I'll get out. Just give me a chance to go home and get my stuff together.
I'll give you nothing. Well, Red, you like the way I handled it?
Not too well, no.
You think you could have done better?
If he got his cut, why scare him to death? He might want another free haircut sometime.
The more he's scared, the faster he's out of town.
Nick, you're a wonder. With Harry. But just think twice before you try something like that on me.
Open up, Harry. Open up.
Let's push the door in, Sergeant.
Looks like that's the only way we'll get in. He's got it bolted from the inside.
All right. Together. All right. Once more.
Give it.
Again. Okay, Harry. Go.
Must be around someplace.
Hey, the closet. Watch him now. Okay, Harry. Come out of that closet. Come out of there or we'll shoot through the door. Come on.
Now, listen, guys. Let go, guys, please. I'll get out of town. Tell Nick you can keep my cut. I'll get out of town. No, look, tell Nick I don't want to get pushed. I'll get out. He can have my end.
Your end of what, Harry? The tunnel jobs?
Who are you guys? He didn't send you, did he? You're law.
Yeah, Harry. We're law. Well, what were you saying about Nick?
Nick? Nick, I don't know any such guy. Nick.
Oh, you don't, huh? Well, come on, let's go downtown. We'll see how much you do know.
Red.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Sit down, Red.
Thanks. Are you buying the drinks?
You got plenty of dough.
So have you.
Listen, for the last time, don't make any more cracks about me being tight with a dollar.
Okay, forget it.
You hear anything from Harry?
No. Did you?
He must have left town okay.
So that's it.
Look, Red, I got another guy lined up and another job, prettier than the last two.
What do we do with the other guy after the job? Dump him like Harry?
Maybe.
Or is it me this time?
All right.
Just watch your step, Nick. Harry and me are entirely different guys. In more ways than one. Hey, bartender, over here.
Well, Captain, I'd say Harry don't know any more than he's told us.
Nothing doing on that hotel address he gave for Nick, huh?
No. Nick checked out 3 days ago.
And Red?
Him, too.
Well, I guess Bella Mama's candy store is the only bet, huh?
But it's a good bet.
Okay. Keep a setup on the place. One of them's bound to show up there sooner or later, from force of habit, if nothing else. When one shows up, he'll lead us to the other.
Hello, Bella. Oh, Red, you don't like Bella Mama no more.
I love you, Bella Mama. I love you like a mother.
I don't see you no more.
You know how things are. Got a fast-moving business.
Mm-hmm. How's the Nick?
Oh, he's fine. The richer he gets, the more worried he gets about breaking a dollar.
And, Harry?
Well, don't see Harry much anymore. Hey, you got a racing for him?
Sure, right. Help yourself over there.
Fine. There's a couple of good ones going on.
Bella Mama, don't play the horses.
That's the only thing I don't like about you. You remind me too much of Nick. Hey, keep the change. Hey, Nick.
Yeah?
What's out in Willamette?
The job, Red. What do you think?
You sure nothing else?
What do you mean?
I just want to tell you. I got about $20 in my pocket. And that's all.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Plenty. Because I got an idea you're going to get me out there and pull a gun.
Now, Red.
Don't now, Red, me. You don't think I'm dope enough to cart around that 10 grand with me, do you?
I told you, this is a job tonight.
Okay, partner. This is a job tonight.
Take the other bridge, Red.
Huh?
What's the matter?
I think we're being dogged.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's sedan in back with 2 guys.
Cops, you think?
Hold on, we'll find out.
They're staying with us.
That's so?
Give them more, Red.
An awful lot of traffic.
Here they come.
It's cops, all right.
Hold on, I'm going to take the turn.
Watch it, Red. They're going to grab us.
Let's go.
Go on, hurry.
Police officers, stay where you are.
Come on. Oh. Okay, copper.
Okay, don't need to move.
What's the idea?
Take them down, Sergeant. You, keep your hands up.
All right.
That's more like it, Nick.
Nothing on him, Captain, except that racing sheet from Bella Mama's.
Okay. Go on. Walk over to the sidewalk.
Go on. Walk, he said.
And that, Dawn, was the end of this notorious gang of tunnel bandits. The ringleaders are now serving maximum terms of 40 years each in the Illinois State Penitentiary at Statesville.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath, for this most enlightening case history. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the members of the Chicago Police Department who participated in the investigation leading to the arrest and conviction of these dangerous criminals.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story. Our story is entitled The Ghost and Private Perkins. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment. But first, today your rapidly expanding United States Army needs intelligent young men with ability and ambition. Men intelligent enough to recognize the vital need for a strong armed force. Men with ability enough to be trained in a necessary job. Men with ambition enough to secure the future for themselves and their loved ones. Does this description fit you? Can you qualify? For full information on how you can fit in with the finest, check with your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station now. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, The Ghost and Private Perkins.
Anyone ever tries to tell you there's no such thing as a ghost, you just refer him to me. Name's Perkins. Sergeant Al Perkins of the United States Army. Stationed right now in Washington, D.C. The time I met a ghost, though, I wasn't a sergeant. I was plain Private Perkins, and there were a few thousand miles, including the Atlantic Ocean, between me and the nation's capital. D-Day was over. The long, hard fight across France was over. The boys with a stiff-arm salute and the goose step were on the run, and it wouldn't be long before they threw away their guns and yelled "Uncle" at the top of their lungs. My company was cooling its heels in a little town in Normandy that had a name I still can't pronounce. Du Bouquevre-sur-Pont. Yeah, or something like that. It was just a little village, kind you might see out in the Midwest. You know, I had a main street and a couple of stores and a pretty little church, and that's about all. Since most of Mr. Hitler's lads had picked up their marbles and made a beeline for their fatherland, there wasn't much to do except keep our eyes and ears open for any smart Alex who might have stayed behind hoping to get a pot shot at one of us. You know, like the captain said.
This area has been combed pretty carefully, men, but there may still be one or two Nazis in the vicinity. There have been some thefts recently, and the mayor told me this morning that one of the younger boys saw a man in uniform in the woods to the south of the bridge. A man in a gray uniform. I know. Kids have a good imagination. But these kids know a German when they see one. I'm sending out a detail to search those woods again. No sense taking any chances. And remember, I want everyone fully armed at all times. Don't forget that. fully armed.
Well, when it came to details, good or bad, and mostly bad, the name of Perkins always headed the list. But I missed that particular patrol, and I was very happy, because it was a hot day, and I'd been thinking about taking myself a nice, cool swim in the river.
Hey, Perk, you going to have yourself a swim?
Mm-hmm. That's what I had in mind.
Now, look, it's a mile to the river. The sun's beating down on you. You're really dragging by the time you get there. Off come the clothes, and in you go, and it's cool. Right?
What are you building, boy?
You paddle around, you make bubbles, and splash like a kid in the tub. You ain't got a care in the world.
So?
So, the time comes and you got to go home. You climb out, you dry yourself off, put on your clothes.
You coming with me or not?
You walk the mile back, and by the time you get back to camp, you're just as hot, if not hotter, than when you started. So, why don't you sit down and we'll have a nice game of cards? Using my deck, of course.
Nope, I'm still taking a swim. Coming?
Will Betty Grable be there?
Oh, shut up.
Hey, don't tell me you're toting that great big M1 rifle along, too.
Well, you heard what the captain said, didn't you?
Well, if you drop dead from heat prostration, don't come crying home to me.
I won't. Take it easy, buddy.
Hey, Perkins.
Yeah?
Watch out for that boogeyman in the gray uniform.
Well, I started out feeling a little like a kid playing hooky from school. All of a sudden, it seemed like there hadn't been a war at all. It seemed like I wasn't in France, but I was home in Michigan. The people I passed were Michigan people, and the long gray-brown fields were Michigan fields. Yeah, it was one of those days you could write poetry about, if you were the poetry-writing type. Big blue hunk of sky, flowers everywhere, and a nice summery breeze. You can imagine that I was a plenty surprised boy when I happened to look back and saw a wicked-looking bunch of black clouds doing a fast sneak job on me. By then, I was a long way from town. To try to beat it back to camp would mean getting soaked to the skin. And there wasn't a farmhouse in sight, but a little way up the river, I spotted a small, low stone building. Looked like an old mill house or something. The storm was just about to break. Looked like the only way to keep from getting wet, so I cut across the field, grabbed at the latch on the door of the mill house, and walked inside. When I got used to the darkness, I began looking around me. There's a musty old joint. All cobwebs and dirt. Like no one had been there for years. Hell, I don't mind admitting it was downright creepy. I had dusted off an old wooden box and was getting ready to sit down and sweat out the storm when suddenly it happened. Down at the far end of the room was a sort of a contraption. I guess it was the controls for whatever kind of work had been done in this place. You know, there was a lever and a couple of wheels and a long rope that went up into the shadows. I'd seen all this when I first came in and paid no attention to it. Suddenly I saw something I hadn't seen before. I saw a man. Or something that looked like a man. And he was standing by the long rope that went up into the darkness. And he was looking right at me. Oh, my hand reached out for my rifle. Hey, you! Is this your place? Well, he didn't make a move. He didn't say a word. I came in here to get out of the storm. I hope you don't mind. Now, why didn't you say something? Cat got your tongue? And he still didn't say a word. He just stood there. Well, it began getting on my nerves. Okay, now, let's just break it up. Stop playing games now. Get over here. Now, look, this is a rifle I got in my hands. If you don't understand me, maybe this will make you understand that I'm not kidding. Now, get over here. Move fast. I said get over here, or do I have to show you that I'm not kidding? All right, don't say you didn't ask for it. I tossed 3 shots in his general vicinity, not too close, but close enough to let him know I meant business. I saw splinters fly as the slugs chewed their way into the rotten old walls. A cloud of dust boiled up from the floorboards, and the long rope moved like it was alive. Lightning flash came in the one small window and through the cracks in the wall, and it lit up the whole room, just for an instant. But in that instant, I looked down at the end of the room, and it was empty. There was no one there. When I got back to camp later, you can be sure I kept my mouth shut about what I'd seen. I mean, I had enough troubles without making myself the laughingstock of the whole company. I could just imagine my buddies saying,
"You mean you saw a ghost? For real? Look, Buster, maybe you better go on sick call. Like right now."
Or suppose I'd made a report to the captain.
A most interesting story, Private Perkins. You forgot to add one thing, however. Was it a French ghost or a German ghost?
Oh, no. I mean, I batted the thing around for 2 days. It just didn't make sense. None of it. And I knew if I didn't talk to someone soon about what I'd seen, I'd begin thinking maybe I did have a few loose marbles in my head. So, finally, I decided to pay a visit to the one person I knew might be able to help me.
But of course, there is a ghost in the old mill house, my son. Oh, he has been there for many long centuries.
Well, now, just wait a minute, Father. Let me get this straight. That man I saw, he was a ghost?
Émile Dubequevre. It was for him that our village was named. It was his generosity that built this church.
But there's no such thing as a ghost.
And yet, you saw this man.
As clearly as I see you sitting there.
Perhaps the atmosphere of the old mill house, the shadows and the dust, and outside a storm.
Well, you've already said the mill house is haunted.
Well, I am merely passing on to you what I've heard many, many times. It is common talk in the village that the ghost of Émile Dubequevre haunts the old mill house. Many people have seen him. He has not, however, deemed it important to appear for me whenever I visited that rather dismal place.
Well, why does he appear at all? I mean, how do other people see him? And why did I see him if I did see him at all?
The legend is that he appears to anyone in trouble. Oh, he was a type of French Robin Hood, a ruthless businessman, not very honest either. But the vast monies he collected were always given to the needy. One of his rivals discovered how badly Dubequevre had swindled him, and one dark night arranged for his murder.
Oh, he was killed in the mill house.
The villagers found his body the next morning. He had been hanged. A rather disagreeable and violent end for such a wonderful scoundrel.
Well, it's a very pretty story, Father, but it doesn't hold water. You said that Émile
Dubequevre.
Well, that he appears just for people in real trouble. Well, outside of missing a good swim and getting caught in a thunderstorm, I certainly wasn't in any trouble when I saw him.
Well, I'm merely passing on to you the facts of the legend, my boy. You must interpret them yourself, as you see fit.
Well, I know I've taken up too much of your time already, Father. Thanks so much for the information.
Well, I hope I have been of some help.
You've been a big help. Thanks again.
Please come and visit me soon again, Private Perkins. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, I will, Father. Goodbye. Well, I went back to camp and sat on the edge of my bunk, just staring at the wall in front of me. I was more confused now than I'd been before I heard about Émile what's his name? I reasoned with myself that this was the 20th century, that I was a big boy who didn't believe in ghosts. And yet, what or who was it I'd seen in that old mill house?
Hey, Dreamer, did you see the bulletin board? We'll be moving out of here tomorrow morning. Boy, well, I'd be glad to shake the dust of this town off my boots. Maybe now we'll get a chance to see Paris. Ooh la la!
Hey, Dreamer, you listening to me? You heard what I said?
I heard you.
Well, you don't act like you did. You don't seem happy about clearing out of here.
I'm happy. See, I'm smiling. I'm real happy like you.
Just so long as you're happy, buddy, that's all that matters. I got to keep my buddy happy. How you gonna keep him down the
Oh, I was happy about moving on. Sure, I was real happy about that. I was even happy about the idea of seeing Paris. But I knew there was one thing I had to do first. And I had to do it right then, on my last night in that little French village. I knew I had to go back to that mill house and prove to myself that there was no such thing as a ghost. Of course, that's the whole point of my story, though. Because that night, I really did meet the ghost of Émile Dubuquevre.
You are listening to the Proudly We Hail production of The Ghost and Private Perkins. We'll return to our story in just a moment. Young man, let's talk about your future and America's future. They're important to each other, you know. Today, your United States Army is charged with a vital responsibility. You need only to glance at your local newspaper to realize how vital. And to meet this responsibility, the Army is rapidly expanding its forces. They have a job for you, a job that must be done by men of courage. You can get full details of how you may best serve your future and your country's future by a visit to your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today. You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of The Ghost and Private Perkins.
That last evening I spent in the little French town of Dubuquevre-sur-Pont was one of the longest in my life. I was impatient to get back to the mill house by the river, but I didn't want any of the guys to know what I had in mind. I didn't want any of them coming with me, especially my buddy, who was far too practical a person for this particular mission of mine.
Now, it says in this book that Paris is the most beautiful city in the world. I always thought Brooklyn was the most beautiful.
Yeah, well, it's all how you look at it.
Through Brooklyn eyes, I look at it. Has Paris got an Ebbets Field? Has it got a Gowanus Canal? And girls. Has it got girls like Brooklyn?
In a couple of days, we'll know. What time is it?
That's the fifth time you asked me the time in the last hour. You got a late date or something?
Oh, sure. Cocktails at the Stork, dinner at Lindy's. Gonna catch the floor show at the Copo. What time is it?
11:05. Well, have yourself a time on the town. I'm hitting the sack. Good night, Perkins.
You want me to tuck you in all comfy?
Maybe you would like a fractured head.
The lights went out in camp. The guys settled down. Someone down the line started sawing wood, but good. The moonlight seeped in through chinks in the wall. Long silver fingers moving across the floor. I lay there mentally counting off the minutes. Then way in the distance, I heard the town clock tolling off midnight. I swung my feet off the bed and reached for my shoes. Well, it was now or never. And I knew I had to see the inside of the mill house once more. I grabbed my rifle and made my way out of camp as quietly as I could. Well, the little town was sound asleep. Here and there a light glimmered, but the streets were dark and completely empty. The wind whispered strange echoes as I walked through the square and headed towards the country. As I passed the church, I was surprised to see someone standing by the picket gate. I was even more surprised when I heard a voice say,
"Isn't it rather late for an evening walk, Private Perkins?"
Oh. Father Pierre, good evening.
Come in and sit down for a moment. I believe there is still some hot coffee on the stove.
Well, thanks a lot, but I'd rather not. We're moving out tomorrow, and there's something I got to do.
You are still not satisfied about the little mill house.
Oh, well, how'd you know?
Oh, it has happened before. You're not the first. There was a young couple from America. They were bicycling through the country and heard the legend of the mill house. They spent 3 nights there.
No ghost?
Not even an eerie moan or a clanking chain. As I told you, our ghost appears only to a person who is in trouble.
Well, then he made a mistake when he appeared for me the other day.
So it would seem.
Well, I still want to make sure.
Well, I would go with you, but this is my night for guard duty.
You on guard duty?
Oh, one of us watches every night. There may still be some of the enemy hiding in the neighborhood.
Yeah, the captain told us that a couple of the kids had spotted a man in uniform in the woods.
If they are still here, we will catch them. They will not escape.
Maybe I'll have some of that coffee with you when I come back.
I'll be waiting here. Good luck, Private Perkins. My regards to Émile Dubequevre, if you should see him.
The good father had an amused look on his face as I turned and started down the road. I didn't blame him. I felt a little silly myself. I knew I wouldn't see the ghost of Émile Dubequevre. If I'd had any sense, I would have gone back to camp and gotten a good night's sleep. But some little stubborn streak inside kept me headed towards the mill house. The village clock had just struck 1 as I stood in front of that sagging wooden door again. The moon was still high in the sky. The old mill house was bathed in a misty glow. I hesitated for just a moment. And I lifted the latch. And I pushed open the door. Everything was just as it had been that storm-swept afternoon. Swirling dust. Now and then a little sound as a mouse scurried through the darkness. Well, you couldn't have asked for a better setting for a good ghost story. I stood there, just inside the door for several long minutes. And the moon slid behind a cloud and the mill house sank into blackness. I froze as I heard an alien sound from across the room. A strange, sliding sound. My heart pounded. There was a dust-dry taste in my mouth. And slowly, moonlight again appeared, lancing the blackness. I stared across the room, stared in the direction from which that strange sound had come. And there, in that same corner, standing by the long rope and the twisted, broken machinery, was the dim figure of a man.
I suggest that you drop that rifle, lift your hands.
Hey, you're not...
I said drop that rifle! It's unfortunate that you chose to return to this place after your experience of 2 days ago.
Well, I don't get you.
This has been a most convenient hiding place for me. I intend to keep it so.
You were here during the storm?
I could have killed you then. I thought, however, that you would leave and not return.
Well, where were you hiding?
There's a small room behind me. The door slides open. See?
Well, was it you I saw standing there beside the rope?
Huh? What are you talking about? Do you think I would have been foolish enough to show myself? I stayed behind the door. I was able to see you through these cracks.
You didn't come into the room at all?
I have already told you that I stayed behind the door.
Émile Dubequevre.
What? Since you sensed someone was in the mill house, you fired your rifle in this direction.
Yeah, he was trying to warn me. He knew I was in trouble, in danger.
You are in extreme danger right now, my friend. You see, I'm going to have to kill you.
Huh? No, you won't get away with it. Just fire a shot and the entire village, including the United States Army, will be down here on the double.
They will not hear a shot. This revolver is equipped with a very adequate silence.
And when I don't turn up for reveille in the morning?
By then, all traces of tonight's incident will be gone. Especially your body. Now, kick that rifle across the floor.
Now, wait a minute. Father Pierre knows I came to the mill house tonight.
Kick that rifle across the floor!
Yeah, well, he'll tell my commanding officer that I came here. And the company won't move out until a complete investigation is made.
Nothing will be found, I assure you.
Oh, yeah. The Nazis cover murder so effectively.
This is not murder. This is a question of your life or mine. And at the moment, my life is the more important.
In your opinion only, I'm sure.
You think you have beaten us, don't you?
Well, it looks that way, don't you think?
The Reich will conquer. We will strike back and the Allies will be defeated. Then we will rule the world.
You boys have a pretty good opinion of yourselves, don't you?
That is a waste of time to stand here and talk to you.
Well, how about a cigarette for the condemned man?
I have no cigarette.
In the pocket of my jacket, the upper pocket.
Don't mix with them. Keep your hands up. We shall both have a cigarette.
Yeah, upper right pocket, huh? There should be some matches, too. And no, you would try a trick such as this. Well, I have a few more tricks you haven't seen yet. Like that. Yeah, and let go of that gun before I break your wrist. Yeah, that's nice. Well, now that makes things a little more even.
You fight well. Very well, my friend. I fight well, too. Where's the gun? You kicked the gun. Where's it?
You throw a low punch, don't you?
Your rifle will have to do. This is the end, my American friend.
Emile Dubuquevre.
Get on your feet. Back.
Don't you see him? Standing there in the corner? Yeah, by the rope. He's standing there. Just behind you.
That's an old trick. There's no one in this mill house but you and I. And in a matter of seconds, there will be just me.
Yeah, he touched the rope. I can see it moving. He's pulled the rope and... Hey, watch out! Hey, that machinery's starting to go! Well, if anyone ever tries to tell you there's no such thing as a ghost, you just refer him to me. His name's Perkins. Sergeant Al Perkins of the United States Army. Okay. You have it your own way. The fight we had loosened that old machinery, and it gave way. And the whole thing was just a lucky break for me. But I know what I saw. And I still say I owe my life to the ghost of a fella named Dubuquevre, who knew I was in trouble. Real trouble. And who did something about it.
Here's a special message for the young men of our country. The United States Army, the senior service of our armed forces, is expanding rapidly and needs your help. By enlisting in the United States Army, you'll not only get the finest training in the world, but you'll have the special pride that goes with wearing a United States Army uniform. Why not get full details today? Visit your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. Enlist now. this has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station by the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This program featured a cast of outstanding players. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in this same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And if you will, I hope you listen to me for a second, because I want to tell you about a wine that can make waiting for dinner a pleasure. The wine is Petri California Sherry. Any evening, well, let's say tomorrow evening, right before dinner, pour yourself a glass of Petri Sherry. Just look at it. It's clear as crystal and a wonderful deep amber color. One sure sign of a good sherry. And if you need further proof of just how good Petri Sherry really is, taste it. What wine? That Petri Sherry has a flavor that you know comes right from the heart of the grape. And if you like your sherry dry rather than sweet, you'll really like Petri Pale Dry Sherry. There's no doubt about it. Petri Sherry is one of the most delicious before-dinner wines in this swell country of ours. Oh, and say, when you serve Petri Sherry, serve it proudly, because those letters, P-E-T-R-I, on the bottle, spell the proudest name in the history of American wine. And now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's waiting for us. Let's go enjoy.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Bartell.
Good evening, Doctor. All alone tonight, huh?
Yes, my boy, if you can call a man alone when he's got his pipe, his books, and a glass of good port at his elbow. Take your coat off. The fellow enjoying that.
Thanks, Doctor.
Help yourself to the port. There's some rather special tobacco in the jar over there.
Fine. And now, Doctor, are you ready to tell us tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure?
I am, Mr. Bartell, and I think you'll find it a most unusual story. It began on a winter's night in 1896. Holmes and I had gone to a theatre in the East End of London to see a performance of a famous old English melodrama called Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
That's a good bloodthirsty title, Doctor. Demon Barber. He sounds as though he specialized in close shaves.
Good gracious me, Mr. Bartell, that's almost unforgivable. He was a murderer of voracious appetite who placed his victims in a specially constructed barber's chair, cut their throats, and then pressed the lever that would swing the chair over and decamp the unfortunate victim into a horrible cellar beneath his shop.
Well, this is only a stage play you're talking about, Doctor.
As my story begins, we were seated in a private box watching one of the closing scenes. Holmes was leaning forward in his chair, following the action on the stage with an obvious delight, while I sat beside him equally engrossed. An actor by the name of Mark Humphreys was playing the part of Sweeney Todd, and no one could deny that he was playing it up to the...
Where are you going, Tobias? To the nearest magistrate, Sweeney Todd, to denounce you as a fiendish, cruel, cold-blooded murderer. You have pronounced your doom. Into the chair with you, and over and down into the depths below. Ha! There. Say, whence comes this apparition? 'Tis the ghost of another customer of mine. The yawning grave yields up his ghastly inmates to prove me guilt. Blood will have blood. See, he is there. He comes comes to accuse me of his murder. Oh, save me! 'Twas not I that slew you. Let me leave, or it will kill me. Let me leave!
Oh, upon my soul, Holmes, that fellow Mark Humphreys is the most florid actor that I've ever seen on a stage.
I find him enchanting, Watson. It seems to me he's really caught the flavor of this murderous monster piece. After all, a restrained performance for Barber Sweeney Todd would be unthinkable.
Yes, I suppose it would. But I must say his makeup seems rather overdone. No barber would wear such an enormous beard. It'd be most impractical. Probably get in the customers' faces. By the way, I noticed from the program that Mark Humphreys, as well as being the principal actor, is also the owner of the company.
Yes, the current trend towards the actor-manager is a very healthy sign, I think. Come in.
Excuse me, but is one of you gentlemen Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I was asked to give you this note.
Thank you.
Now, who on earth knows that you're at the theatre, Holmes?
We'll soon find out. Ah, this note is from Mark Humphreys, our actor-manager.
What's it say?
Dear Mr. Holmes, I recognize you in your box. Please come to my dressing room after the performance. My sanity, and even the safety of London, perhaps, depends on your compliance.
Good Lord, my sanity and the safety of London. I wonder what on earth he means.
That, my dear fellow, we can only discover by going backstage to meet him. As it is, the curtain's going up in the last scene I see. For a little longer, we must possess our souls in patience.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, sir?
Oh, my name is Lindsay. Derek Lindsay. I'm the business manager. Mr. Humphreys asked me to meet you at the stage door and take you to his dressing room.
Thank you very much. This is my colleague, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
Oh, how are you, Doctor? Will you follow me, please?
Excuse me asking, Mr. Lindsay, but surely you must be related to that distinguished actor of some years back, Lytton Lindsay.
He was my father, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, indeed. The resemblance is extraordinary.
With such a heritage, Mr. Lindsay, you must love the theatre.
It'll probably sound like heresy, but I hate it. However, it's the only thing I was trained for, and there's good money to be made in it, sometimes. And money's a thing I both like and want. Oh, Mr. Holmes, I do hope you'll be able to help Mark Humphreys. He certainly needs it.
Oh, really? What seems to be his trouble?
Oh, he'll have to tell you that for himself. But his wife and I think... There's Mrs. Humphreys now. Maria! Maria, this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Mrs. Mark Humphreys.
How do you do?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, I'm so grateful that you're going to see Mark. He's in such a dreadful state. There have been times lately when Mr. Lindsay and I have been afraid he's going out of his mind, haven't we, Derek?
Indeed we have. We're both dreadfully worried about him.
In that case, I hope I can be of service. Which is his dressing room?
Number 1, next door to mine. Derek, I think it'll be better if Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson go in alone. I'm sure Mark will speak more freely if we're not in the room.
I think perhaps that is a good idea, Mrs. Humphreys. We'll see you later on. Come on, fellow.
That's all right.
Come in, come in. Sherlock Holmes, thank heaven you're here. Close the door.
Mr. Humphreys, this is Dr. Watson.
Watson, eh? Yes, I know of you, too.
How do you do, sir?
Sit down, won't you, gentlemen? You're wondering why I asked you to come back and see me, of course.
Naturally, sir.
Well, I won't beat about the bush and waste your time. I come straight to the point. I'm going mad.
Oh, come
on. I know. It sounds fantastic, but it's true. I've often heard of actors beginning to live their parts off the stage. They play on it. Well, it's happening to me. I'm turning into another Sweeney Todd. The character I'm portraying on the stage.
Are you suggesting, sir, that you're a potential murderer?
Yes, I am.
What reason do you have for holding that belief?
Reason? Listen to this. 3 times in the past week, I've wakened in the morning to find my boots covered with mud and my razor stained with blood.
You've had no recollection of any untoward events during the night?
None.
Have you ever been addicted to the unfortunate habit of sleepwalking, sir?
Not to my knowledge, Doctor. And if I had been, surely my wife would have told me about it.
Your wife? Where do you live, Mr. Humphreys?
We have a flat here above the theatre.
Above the theatre, eh? And Mr. Humphreys, you say that on 3 separate occasions on waking in the morning, you have found a blood-stained razor and mud-covered boots. Can you show us this proof?
No, I can't. I was always so frightened that my wife would see that I
I cleaned them before she had the opportunity of finding them.
It is, sir. They would have been very valuable clues in a case like this.
I couldn't risk my wife seeing evidence like that. Doctor, she'd know the truth. But at night times, while she's asleep, some devilish, unconscious urge has overcome me. An urge that causes me to prowl the streets of London. Razor in hand, looking for a victim. Mr. Holmes, you've got to help me. I'm certain that without knowing it, I've been committing murder, and if you don't help me, I'll go on and on.
Mr. Humphreys, please. I'll undertake the case. It's a very unique assignment. In effect, I'm being engaged by a possible murderer to prove him guilty.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I've been through all the records we have here at Scotland Yard.
What have you found, Inspector Gregson?
In the last 2 months, we haven't had one case of an unsolved killing with a razor.
Any mysterious disappearances, Inspector?
Bless your heart, Doctor. There's never a day that passes without one or two of them. Here's a list of them, Mr. Holmes, if it's any use to you.
Thanks. Come on, Watson. In the morning, we can go back to the theatre and set our friend's mind at rest. I'm much obliged to you, Gregson.
Glad to be of service, Mr. Holmes.
We examined the homicide records at Scotland Yard after leaving you last night, Mr. Humphreys. There have been no unsolved razor murders in London during the past fortnight.
And therefore, I think you may rest easy on that score, sir.
But it proves nothing. Remember that in the play, Sweeney Todd's victims are never found either.
Yes, thanks to his singularly horrible ingenuity in disposing of them. But this is real life, Mr. Humphreys.
Then how do you account for the bloodied razors and the muddied boots?
Well, now, are you sure that they aren't just in your imagination, sir? You admit that your wife's never seen them? The whole thing could be, or shall we say, an overdose of Sweeney Todd?
Well, I admit that I'm suffering from a surfeit of that.
And why not drop the play from your repertoire?
Our manager, Derek Lindsay, won't let me. He's our best money maker. And he's always got a keen eye to business. Mr. Holmes, I can see that you still don't believe my story. So I've saved some evidence for you. Evidence that I found this morning. Look at these. Now what do you say? Do you still think it's my imagination?
Got a blood-stained razor and boots covered with mud.
Splendid. At last, some real clues to work on.
How can you be so calm, Holmes? It happened again last night. Do you realize that I'm a murderer? I'm a menace to society? For heaven's sake, lock me up before I do some more damage.
No, sir. Don't get so excited.
Mr. Humphreys, I should like to take these objects back to Baker Street where I can perform some chemical tests. You have no objections, I hope?
Objections? Good heavens, no.
Excellent. You've told no one of this fresh discovery of yours?
No one. Not even Derek Lindsay.
Derek Lindsay, that's your manager, isn't it?
Yes. The best friend I ever had. Except for his father before him. It was Derek who helped me back on my feet 2 years ago, when I put on that disastrous production of Macbeth. Don't know where I'd be today if it weren't for him.
You lost a great deal of money on that production, sir.
Nearly every penny I had.
Indeed. By the way, where is your wife, Mr. Humphreys?
She's in her dressing room next door. The matinee's day, you know.
I'd like a word with her. What's no chap? Wait here for me, will you? I won't be a moment.
Right, you are, Holmes.
Who is it?
Sherlock Holmes.
You want to talk to me, Mr. Holmes?
For a moment. May I come in, Mrs. Humphreys?
Well, couldn't we talk on the stage? It's empty.
I should prefer to come into your dressing room, if you don't mind. What I have to say is confidential.
Very well, then. Come in. Mr. Holmes, may I introduce Signor Vanelli, our musical director?
How do you do, sir?
It is a great honor to meet the so great Signor Holmes. I have so admired you. Oh, often I have envied you. Many times I say to myself, Giuseppe...
Signor Vanelli, if you don't mind, I wish to speak to Mrs. Humphreys alone.
Oh, I quite understand. Excuse me, Signor. Adios, Cara Maria.
Mr. Holmes, I'm really awfully glad of this opportunity to talk to you. Tell me truthfully, please, what's your opinion of my husband?
I haven't formed a definite opinion yet. Except that it's possible that he's the victim of a fraud. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Of course not, Mr. Holmes.
Has your husband ever shown evidence of being a sleepwalker?
A sleepwalker? Oh, no, never.
I see. Are you a light sleeper?
Yes, I am. Exceptionally so. Why?
Oh, I'm just curious.
You're being very mysterious, Mr. Holmes. Can't you tell even me what's going on?
I promised your husband the answer to that question before tonight's performance. I'm afraid I can't tell you any more until then.
Oh. And now may I ask the question?
Oh, certainly. No, I won't promise to answer it.
You said just now that my husband might be the victim of a fraud. What did you mean?
Again, I'm afraid that you must wait for the specific answer to that question. However, there's another fraud being practiced on him that I can speak of now.
What fraud?
The fraud that you are indulging in, Mrs. Humphreys.
What do you mean?
Of course, this particular fraud is none of my business, but when I almost force my way into your dressing room and find your musical director, with plenty of rice powder on one shoulder and suggestions of rouge on his cheek, it doesn't take a great deal of intelligence to deduce that your husband is being deceived.
Get out of here at once.
That's exactly what I propose doing. Good day to you, madam. No doubt I shall see you later on.
Well, Holmes, what does the microscope tell you about the mud on the boots and the blood stains on the razor?
On a bank on the mud, old chap. It's been the common type that is found in most parts of London.
And the blood?
I'm examining that now.
This is as strange a case as ever I remember, Holmes. Here you are trying to prove a man innocent when he insists that he's guilty.
By George, Watson. Here's the answer.
What?
This blood is definitely not human blood. It's probably canine. Now, a Sweeney Todd madness would hardly drive its victim to kill dogs. Therefore, it's obvious that Mark Humphreys is the victim of a devilish plot.
And he's not a murderer.
No, come on, old fellow. Let's go to the theater at once and give him the good news.
Why doesn't he answer? 3/4 of an hour before the curtain time.
It must be in his dressing room. I'll knock again. Come on, Watson, let's go in.
Holmes, look. Look, he's slumped over his dressing table.
I hope we're not too late. Here, give me a hand with him.
You are too late. His throat's been cut.
Poor devil. I promised him a solution to his troubles before the night was over. Little did I think that the solution would be death.
We'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just a second, so I'm going to ask you if you're one of those people who just eats to live, or whether you really enjoy good food. If you love good eating, you've just got to know about Petri wine. Petri wine makes good food taste wonderful. For instance, if you're having steak or a roast or any meat or meat dish, you'll love it served with Petri California Burgundy. Petri Burgundy is the last word in delicious red wine. Now, with chicken or fish, you can't beat the delicate Petri California Sauterne, a really extraordinary white wine. Just to make sure you don't miss either Petri wine, don't buy one, buy two. Buy both Petri Burgundy and Petri Sauterne. They're both swell because they're both Petri. Well, Dr. Watson, what happened next?
Well, sir, I think I'll pick up the story exactly where I left off. Holmes and I were standing in Mark Humphrey's dressing room, looking with horror at the flashed throat of the actor manager. There was a bitter, self-accusing note in Holmes's voice.
I promised him a solution to his troubles before tonight was over. Little did I think that solution would be death.
This worry over his supposed madness caused him to commit suicide.
Suicide? Rubbish, old fellow. It's murder.
Look at the razor clutched in his hand.
Undoubtedly placed there by the murderer before rigor mortis had a chance to set in. In any case, scrutinize the wound. Does that look as if it had been done by the hand of a suicide?
Well, I don't see why not.
Look closer, old chap. The depth of the wound is even, whereas a suicide cut always wavers towards the end. No, this is murder, Watson, and I think I know who did it. But I have little evidence, and it's their trap.
What kind of a trap, Holmes?
I have time to tell you now, fellow. Every moment counts. Off with you to Scotland Yard and get Inspector Gregson. Bring him back here as fast as you can.
Right you are.
And Watson.
Yes?
Tell absolutely no one except Gregson of Mark Humphrey's death. Say that he's still alive and well and that his problems are solved.
It's the performance of the play.
Don't you worry about that, old chap. Off with you to Scotland Yard.
I'm sorry it took so long to find me, Dr. Watson. I was out on another case.
No, that's all right, Inspector. The performance, if there is one, must be nearly over by now.
Here's the stage door, sir.
Yes, here we are.
Here, you can't go on this stage. Who says I can't? I'm Inspector Gregson of Scotland Yard. Oh, sorry.
Performance is going on. I wonder who the devil's playing Sweeney Todd. Come along. Let's just stand here in the wing. But this is impossible. There's Mark Humphreys on the stage. I saw him with his throat cut.
I don't believe in ghosts, Doctor.
Great heavens, it's Holmes.
Like that. Who's this? It's you, Mrs. Summers. Somebody seems to cut your throat. What a pity. No more veal pies. Don't really try to cut your throat. Here he is. You'll cut their throats, too. He'll revenge you while you burn down there in hell, dearie. He'll revenge you.
Here he comes now, Gregson.
Amazing disguise. I'd never have recognized him.
You're both here.
Holmes, and what are you up to?
Surely that's apparent. I disguised myself as the dead man, hoping to force the murderer's hand.
You're running a terrible risk, Mr. Holmes.
Out of my profession, Gregson. Here comes Signor Vanelli, the musical director.
My dear fellow, I had to leave the orchestra pit to come and congratulate you. Never have you given a finer performance. Bravissimo, bravissimo.
Thank you.
But it is true. You hardly seem the same person. Your performance is incomparable. Keep it up, Mark. Keep it up.
I think he spotted you, Holmes.
Yes, and I didn't like his look as he said that.
Well, whoever it is, they've got to show their hand soon. The curtain's going up in the last scene. Keep your eyes open and suspect everyone.
Look, my lord, Judge. He's by your side. Do not disagree. Your earnings robe is stained with blood.
Sweeney Todd, what dark deed presses on your conscience?
Was a dark, foul deed, but heed not what you hear, Lord Judge, nor what you see. Still the figure sits there. I feared it to come to this. It's useless to deny my guilt. The very dead rise from their settlements to prove Sweeney Todd a murderer.
By George, what an actor he'd have made, Doctor.
Yes, what an actor he is, Gregson. I'll be hanged if I know how he remembers the lines, though, even if he has seen the play half a dozen times. Here he comes now. Bravo, Holmes. You did splendidly.
But it didn't work, Watson. It didn't work, confound it. The murderer still hasn't dipped his hand. Have I underestimated him?
Looks as if you have, sir. And if you don't mind my saying so, I think you'd have been a lot wiser to let me handle the case as soon as you found his body, instead of going in for all this dressing up stuff.
Oh, but of course. Now I see it. Only one person could have killed Mark Humphreys.
Who, Holmes?
Do as I say, and I'll show you. I'm going to Humphreys' dressing room now, alone. Give me a few moments' start, and then follow me. Out of sight, but within earshot.
Dr. Watson, why does Mr. Holmes always have to be so blooming mysterious? Why can't he just say who the murderer is and take us to him?
Well, I've been with Mr. Holmes on a great many cases, Gregson, and yet I can't answer that question. Come along. He's got a big enough start now. Let's follow him.
I'm very fond of Mr. Holmes, you know, Doctor, and yet there are times when I get so angry with him. He shouldn't risk his life like that.
Well, you know Mr. Holmes. He will never change.
And if he don't, one of these days he's going to wake up and find himself dead.
That's the door.
Someone inside with him.
You devil, Humphreys! How many times do I have to kill you?
Great Scott, it's Derek Lindsay, the business manager. Come on, Gregson.
Go, Lindsay! You succeeded in killing Humphreys, but you won't kill me. Grab his arm. Look out for that razor.
Here, you.
Let go of me!
No, you don't.
Very neat, Gregson.
Are you all right, Holmes?
Perfectly, thanks, old chap, though I'm a little tired. Gregson, my dear fellow, will you take over from here? I think I've had enough melodrama for one day. How pleasant, Watson, to be back at Baker Street again. A crackling fire, my dressing gown, and your company combined to make a soothing ending to a somewhat violent day.
Yes, it's been a most unusual case, Holmes. I still don't entirely understand it. The original thought, of course, was to try and drive Mark Humphreys mad by making him think that he was a murderer. That accounted for the boots and the blood-stained razor.
Precisely, my dear fellow. And the killer, having conditioned his victim by this trickery, then murdered him, trying to make it appear a suicide. Now, who had a motive?
3 people. Mrs. Humphreys, her lover, Signor Vanelli, and Derek Lindsay. I must say that I suspected the wife.
Well, so did I for a while, and yet it was illogical. She knew, and we may therefore presume that her lover knew, that I was suspicious of her.
And she must have known that you promised her husband a solution to his troubles before the night was out. It seems highly improbable that she or Signor Vanelli would have faked his suicide at that point.
Quite right, my dear fellow. So I investigated Derek Lindsay's affairs, and I found that what Humphreys had referred to as the kindly act of a friend in helping him back onto his feet was in reality the mortgaging of his entire theatrical effects. Lindsay stood to inherit the theater on Humphrey's death. Therefore, I was convinced that he was the killer.
And then, after he'd murdered him, he saw what he thought to be Mark Humphreys on the stage.
Ah, that's where I was slow and stupid, old chap. I couldn't imagine what motive gave the cold, clear nerve to suppress all reactions when he saw his supposed victim revived on the stage. Only at that moment did I realize.
And what was the motive that made him hold his hand?
The characteristic that ruled his life, Watson. Avarice. A morbid love of money. You see, if he'd attacked me during the performance, he'd have had to refund the money to the audience. His greed conquered all other passions. It made him wait until the performance was finished before he attempted my life.
You know, Holmes, now that the case is solved, I'll tell you something in confidence.
Please do, old fellow. What is
At
it?
the end of the play tonight, I was afraid that you'd made a mistake, that you'd slipped up on the case. Gregson thought so, too.
And I, Watson, will tell you something in confidence.
Oh, what is it?
There were three of us that felt the same way.
And now you're being modest, no?
I assure you I'm not, my dear chap. In fact, in the future, if it should strike you that I'm, getting a little overconfident of my powers, or perhaps giving less pains to a case than it deserves, kindly whisper Sweeney Todd in my ear, will you? I shall be infinitely obliged to you.
Doctor, that was a swell story. And a pretty narrow escape for Holmes.
Yeah. He said he almost solved the case too late. But fortunately, it ended well.
Mm-hmm. The thing that sticks in my mind is the fact that this was one of the very rare occasions when Holmes almost made a serious mistake.
We all make mistakes at times, don't we? Doctor, I said we all make mistakes at times.
I suppose so.
You mean to stand there and tell me that you never make a mistake?
Well, not when it comes to choosing a wine, I don't, because I always choose Petri.
Bartell, you trap me again.
Could be. But honestly, Doctor, when you choose a Petri wine, you know it's a good wine. Because good wine is the only kind of wine the Petri family makes. And it's easy to understand why when you realize that ever since they started the Petri business way back in the 1800s, the Petri family has handed on down from father to son, the highly developed fine art of winemaking. Yes, the Petri family's been making wine for generations. That's why, no matter what type wine you prefer, for any occasion, you can't go wrong with a Petri wine because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, do you care to give us a clue about next week's Sherlock Holmes
Well,
adventure?
let me see. Next week, Mr. Bartell, next week now. Yes, I'm going to tell you a colorful story that took place in the Parisian Circus in 1890. It concerns a very exalted personage, a lady bareback rider, and a strange death that struck without warning.
Oh, boy, I can't miss that one, Doctor.
Good. Well, now, before you go, I want to say something to all our friends. I want you just to think for a minute. Think of how terrible it is to see helpless little children stricken by infantile paralysis. And then realize that infantile paralysis can be beaten. It can be beaten in very many cases. And your money, your dimes, can do it. Join the March of Dimes. Send your dimes to your local March of Dimes headquarters. Let's help little children walk. Let's help them live.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in this Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Yellow Face. Music is by Dean Foster. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studio. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petri family. For For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.